Kevin Harvick won the Busch Series championship in 2001, driving for car owner Richard Childress. It was the same year he made his debut in the Nextel Cup Series. This year, Harvick is racing for 2 titles. In the Nextel Cup Series, he's chasing his first cup. But in the Busch Series, he's after his 2nd title. He has dominated the season with 7 wins and can clinch the Busch Championship tonight. The Busch Series is home at Charlotte, and Kevin Harvick wants his crown now. Kevin Harvick with a 729-point lead over Carl Edwards. If he gains 32 points tonight, he will clinch the 2006 championship. Let's go trackside and get the command.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Grand Marshal, Henry Forrester, District Manager from Tryon, Georgia, for those most famous words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
43 cars roar to life on pit road at the Lowe's Motor Speedway, one of the most popular weekends of the racing season. About to get underway. 300 miles for the Busch Series tonight, and the Bank of America 500 tomorrow night. We'll have the starting grid and the green flag when we come back. It was a beautiful day here in North Carolina. Now a cool, crisp evening, and the fans ready for the excitement of the NASCAR Busch Series Day. Heat up tonight. Take a look at the championship standings. We talked about them a few minutes ago. There you see the commanding lead. Kevin Harvick has just been dominating throughout the season, and he can clinch the championship tonight, even though 4 races remain in 2006. We'll see how it all plays out. Here's the starting lineup tonight for the NASCAR Busch Series. Carl Edwards on the pole, next to Matt Kenseth, one of the guys in the Nextel Cup chase for the championship. J.J. Yaley, Mike Skinner. Back in row 3, Casey Mears and Paul Menard.
Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, strong row 4. Kenny Wallace, David Reagan in 5. Denny Hamlin, Jamie McMurray in 6. Good job.
And as you take a look at the rest of the starting lineup, the car is still sitting on pit road. Let's see if Wally can't go to work on the radio.
Hey, Kevin Harvick, this is Wally in the booth. Hear me?
10-4, Wally.
Well, you got to be nervous going into this race with all these guys breathing down your neck for the championship. No, just kidding. What's your plan tonight?
I think the biggest thing is just do what we've been doing all year, just trying to, you know, run in the top 10 and put yourself in position, make your run adjustments on your car through the race. But got a lot of Dollar General people here tonight. I think they brought half the company, so there's a little added pressure, but should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it.
This has got to help you a little bit, you know, not being able to be on the track at night in your cup car. So this has got to be a little bit of a help for you guys to run this Busch race tonight.
I definitely don't think it hurts anything. I mean, it's, you know, you get used to the lights and what kind of changes the track goes through with the cup race starting so late. So it definitely doesn't hurt anything. That's why we like doing it.
Good luck. I know you guys have fun tonight.
Hey, Wally, thanks.
Kevin Harvick on the verge of clinching his 2nd Busch Series championship. He's definitely going to get it. It's just a matter of when, but it could happen tonight. Car is just now moving onto the racetrack. Give him a little extra time to warm up. Cool here in Concord, North Carolina tonight. A lot of stories be following throughout this 300-mile race. Let's go down to pit road and get some of them, starting with Dave Burns.
And Bill, you heard Kevin use the word pressure. He did speak a little bit about nerves in qualifying today. Was he serious? Well, he does have Dollar General as a sponsor. They're the title sponsor at the track this weekend, so there's a little pressure. His crew doesn't always have the boss driving the car, so there's a little nerves involved with them. And there's that thing about clinching the championship. Together, they hope they can do that tonight because it would be a huge relief. Kevin's trying to win 2 championships. That's never been done before in the same year. And so tonight, if they can clinch this championship, relieved, they move on to worry about the Nextel Cup. Marty Snyder.
Dave, meanwhile, Clint Boyer in the 2-car hopes to keep some momentum going. He's finished 1st and 5th in his last 2 Busch Series races, but he admitted to me moments ago, you know what, Charlotte's really not my best racetrack, and I know tomorrow I have a car that can win the race in the Nextel Cup Series. So tonight, I must learn some lessons about this racetrack because I've yet to be able to figure this place out. So if I can learn something tonight that will help me tomorrow night, that will really help our program over there. Matt Yoakum.
Marty, Kevin Harvick isn't the only Nextel Cup chase driver in tonight's field. Matt Kenseth, one of 7 drivers. He's also racing for redemption. Remember back in the spring, he dominated, led the most laps, but a mechanical failure ended his chance for a 3rd Lowe's Motor Speedway victory. Now, he is also trying to gain some information tonight about tomorrow night's race. The temperatures and track conditions will mirror what we have tonight, what we'll see tomorrow night. So he's hoping with this new tire on the left side to see what it'll do, and also how the pace will be affected by the colder temperatures. He starts on the outside of the front row. Alan Bestwick.
Matt, the last time the NASCAR Busch Series raced here in Charlotte, Carl Edwards drove to victory lane. Tonight, he'll try to become the first driver since 1996 to sweep a season's Busch Series races here. Mark Martin was the driver that did that 10 years ago. The key to winning tonight, well, Carl told me just a minute ago, beat the 17. He thinks his Roush Racing teammate Matt Kenseth has the best car in the field tonight under race trim. Carl says, I'll have to outrun Matt if I'm going to take that checkered flag tonight.
Thanks, Alan. You guys have a great race down there tonight. One thing to point out, in the Nextel Cup Series here at Charlotte, they run a smaller fuel cell, but that's not the case for the Busch Series tonight. They use the normal fuel cell, so you definitely want to be good on the long run if it's not broken up by cautions. Tomorrow night, there'll be a lot of stops with that smaller fuel cell. Take a look at the race analysis. Here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway, 200 laps. Pit window about 65 to 70 laps. Pit road speed 45 miles per hour. Pace car speed will be 55. You see the second half of the field catching up to the pace car. Some of the guys getting ready to go. 50 degrees right now. Track temperature 66 degrees. It was in the 30s here in the Charlotte area this morning. Same forecast for tomorrow. The forecast for tomorrow night is just fantastic. And this place will have a lot of people. About 150,000 fans will be here tomorrow night. Expect the field to get the 1-to-go signal here. Lights on the pace car go out. We'll go green next time by. So it could be a big night for Kevin Harvick, and he definitely would like to put that behind him. It's kind of bizarre, as Dave was talking about, that he's not in that 21 car, actually driving for his own team tonight.
Yeah, it's how it happened to work out. But, yeah, whenever, you know, even if you have a 700-point lead, Kyle, you still take it back in your mind. I still can lose this thing. Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? As a driver, there's never enough point lead. So, you know, you want to get this thing done, and then once it's done, you know, it's going to be a lot more fun.
Drivers are not the most optimistic people in the world. You always are pessimistic. You look, if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen to me, and it's going to happen to me on the next lap. That's the way it is. That's why you always hear people say, it's last lap. You're hearing every creak, you're hearing every noise that car's making on the last lap. But it would be nice for Kevin to clinch it in his car with his team tonight. Although to celebrate the championship, there's going to be about 800 people in victory lane, as many cars as he's driven this year.
Busch Series, a developmental series, so there is some inexperience in this field tonight, Kyle. Coming to get the green, you have to be a little extra cautious heading into one.
You know, you always have to be cautious heading into one, but the one good thing about this racetrack, and one good thing about tonight, these guys have already practiced under these conditions at night, 9:30, 10 o'clock. They know what the racetrack is. They know what the grip is. It's not something unknown to them. As in tomorrow, we're just going to barrel off in the first corner at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night with a ton of grip. But at the same time, these guys already know it. And to get to this level and this type of racing, these guys they've got good heads on their shoulders. They'll be calm the first lap or two. Now watch something happen.
Yeah, no, that's it. Okay, you shouldn't have said that.
Carl Edwards on the pole, next to his teammate Matt Kenseth. 200 laps, 300 miles for the NASCAR Busch Series. Glad you're along for the ride on TNT.
Charles had his hands full in 3 and 4. He lost a few spots there. You can see the car wiggle big time. He saved it. Had guys split him on both sides, but gathered it back up. Got somebody in the wall already. Casey Kane.
Greg Biffle. So it took less than a lap for them to get 3 wide. And now our first caution, just after the first lap. Watch him head down into 1.
Looks like Casey Kane may have gotten some help going into turn 1 there. He had Rudiman all over the back of the car. Oh, you see Biffle right there. He's slowing down. He doesn't know which way to go. Oh, you hate when that happens.
Yeah, you do hate it when that. And, you know, at first glance, it looked like it was just body damage to Biffle's car, but I think it got into the rear end and maybe knocked the rear end a little to the left.
No, I'm not sure if Rudiman got in him after that shot.
This is on board with Tony Stewart. It's going to be up ahead of him.
He got into him a little bit. You can tell by the tire smoke. As he got into him, it turned the car. It cocked the car a little bit to the right. That's when the tires begin to blow smoke off the rear tires. Then the car whips around. So he just barely touched him. And if anything, Casey might have come up a little bit on him.
First caution coming on lap 2 here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. NASCAR Busch Series Racing presented by the Outback Steakhouse. Still under caution here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. We got 1 lap of green in at the start. Then our first caution, Greg Biffle was in it. Casey Kane was also a victim. Go back and take another look. On board with Stewart again.
Hey, you take a look right up there. You see Casey Kane up there. He'll go up the track a little bit, and Rudiman just catches him right in the bumper, hooks him to the right a little bit. I mean, you're running so close here so fast. I mean, it just takes a little bit of a touch and you're wrecking. Marty.
Well, Wally, as you can see, a lot of damage to Greg Biffle's number 16 car where there's no more 16 on the right side. He was worried about the right rear quarter panel, wanted to make sure that was there because he said we can't run around here without that. They're trying to prepare 3 pieces of sheet metal to go on the right side. Greg has now shut the car down, and obviously they have gone down a lap. Matt?
Already back in the garage, the Dodge boys are working on the 9 car. Now, Casey, you just saw the replay. Your thoughts?
It just doesn't make any sense to me. I can't believe that. I was just getting going, just getting going. I was driving into the corner. I got hit from the back, but I don't know. I feel bad for Whisk and Unilever. They put together a really nice car for us, and I think we had a shot at having a great race, and David Rudiman finished that for us tonight. I can't believe the guy's going to Cup next year, to be honest with you.
Well, these guys trying to learn as much as they can, but these guys have a lot of work to do to try to get this 9 car back out onto the racetrack. A lot of damage on all 4 corners.
Thanks, Matt. 29th career start in the NASCAR Busch Series for David Rudiman. Was announced this week he will go NASCAR Nextel Cup racing next season. And of course, Casey Kane is one of those guys in the chase for the Nextel Cup, but he's not going to learn anything tonight, except maybe he doesn't want to be in front of Rudiman next time.
He never got any heat in the tire, so yeah, that's
and he was right. I think Casey and those guys with that team were looking forward to a great night because Casey had been wicked fast in practice on numerous occasions, doing what he always does, right around the top of the racetrack.
So we'll try it again. Carl Edwards will bring the field to the green flag.
And in a situation like that, Kyle, I mean, really, if you got a guy that's coming up, even if he's coming up in front of you, all you got to do is crack the throttle a little bit to avoid that.
But you know how it is. Live and learn. Yeah. That's the way it is. We've all, at some point in time, put ourselves in that position. I'm not sure I want to be in the position on the outside of that 42. He jumped up on that. That was a good restart for him.
That was a good restart. Kevin Harvick, the 33 car. Got a good run off of 2, and he'll take that spot.
Kevin Harvick had a restart there like he was 670 points behind, not that far in, not that much in front.
And, you know, Kyle, was watching practice and you know, final practice for you guys and stuff. I mean, these cars look like, I mean, they're in the racetrack and they're so rigid that when it just takes a little bump, or it just doesn't take anything for that car to get sideways. That's all. A lot of guys catching it 3 and 4 in practice.
And even last night during qualifying, you saw Jeff Gordon, who had been incredibly fast in practice, have to catch the car because the racetrack has so much grip and the cars are so rigid, just like you say, that when you go in, the tire is absorbing everything. And if the tire grips a little bit more than you anticipate or a little bit less than you anticipate, if the car takes off, it's just a rigid platform that just slides up the racetrack.
And I mean, if you remember, it used to be when you go on the corner, the car would slide up the racetrack. You'd have a lane or two to catch it. You don't have that much, it seems like these days. Once it goes, it's there.
You don't have that lane to catch it. And the other thing you don't have that body roll like you used to. You used to have what they everybody referred to as side bite. Just give me a little more side bite and I can get it up off the corner. We don't have side bite anymore. It's a straight platform.
Kevin Harvick is on the move, trying to rope in Menard. Marty.
Menard's got an awfully good car tonight, guys, and this is the car they completely rebuilt. They ran it earlier in the year, put a new body on it, the best wind tunnel numbers they've ever seen for a Busch Series car out of DEI. Paul said, I love the car. I think tonight it's going to be even better than it was in practice yesterday. Dave?
Yeah, but Kevin Harvick trying to keep his crew loose during the caution flag. All he had to say was, I'm cold. Of course, the response from the pit box was, no sympathy here, boss.
Chilly night here in North Carolina. Harvick on the move, up to third. Got Menard in front of him, then Carl Edwards, the race leader. J.J. Yaley runs fourth. That 18 car. Casey Mears behind him. Then Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson, Mike Skinner, Jeff Burton, and Kyle Busch. Your top 10.
Got a pretty good pack right here. These guys racing pretty hard. Back around the 18th, 19th spot, but these guys are going at it pretty hard.
Boyer's in there.
Dave Blaney, the 32 car.
You know, this is that time in the race where some of these cars are probably really good race cars, but everybody has grip, everybody is able to go to the gas hard right now. They can't get around each other. They've got to wait 15, maybe 20 laps for the guys that are really handling a little bit off to be able to work around. You got Bobby Labonte, you got Dave Blaney, you've got guys like that, experienced guys who can work their way through this, and eventually they will. But it's a headache to try to come from 25th on the first 10 or 15 laps.
Oh, there's trouble right there. 88.
Huffman is around into the wall. Caution number 2.
Hit it out here. You're clear. You're all clear. Come on, debris up high, right where it says.
Our second caution of the race. Shane Huffman.
Got to give a nod to Wally Dallenbach on that one. That's great camera work by Wally. He's the one that said follow that pack.
It's like he just got him a little bit high there. Car got away from him, which is easy to do over in 3 and 4. Like we were just talking, Kyle and I, it doesn't take much for these cars to jump sideways on you.
Yeah, in Cup practice, we've had 3 or 4 guys who it just gets away from you right there about the Nextel sign. Same old place it's always been. Like I said in pre-race, it's still the same old Charlotte, no matter how you look at it.
Second caution of the race. Carl Edwards is the race leader. You're watching the NASCAR Busch Series on TNT. Still under caution here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway after Shane Huffman spun and hit the wall. Let's get a report from pit road on the race leader. Here's Alan Bestwick.
Mr. Weber, the race leader, is pretty happy right now, as you would expect, though it's still early in the race. But Carl Edwards talking with his crew before the race started about making sure he didn't run the car too hard, not wanting to use it up. Well, he came on the radio under this caution, reporting to his crew chief, Pierre Cattell, and said, he described the car's handling, and then he said, but I can go fast if I have to. I guess he's holding something a little bit back. Dave?
Hey, Bill, do you see the irony in Kevin Harvick maybe clinching the championship in his own race car here tonight?
Yes.
After running Richard Childress's all year long, that 21 car, that's what took him to the championship. And Kevin admitted to me before the race, a little mixed emotions in this. This is Kevin's car. he did all the hard work, and Richard Childress' guys did all the hard work to get the championship in that 21 car. He says, I hope we clinch it tonight, especially because Dollar General's on the car, but at the same time, kind of wish I was in the 21, so he's back and forth on that. And by the way, this was scheduled long in advance for Dollar General to get them this race as a sponsorship. It was the best move that they thought marketing-wise. So this was always in the plan. They couldn't change it. It was contractual. So here they are.
Some marketing guy's going to look like a genius, isn't he, Dave?
Absolutely.
In car 33, Kevin Harvick needs to finish 32 points in front of Carl Edwards. And watch him on this last restart. Watch that 33 car. It's inside of Casey Mears.
See that when you're in that 33 position. I mean, it's like you catch a guy sleeping just a little bit, and he's going to leave that room. Normally, you don't see that. You don't see that too much.
No, you sure
Normally,
don't.
I know in the Cup race, everybody's got that right door scraping the wall, coming to get the green.
Normally, you don't see anybody try to make that move that Harvick just made. That's what I'm saying. But like I said, if you're 700-800 points ahead, what the hey, man? Go ahead and make a move. Let's try something different. It may work for me tomorrow night.
Matt?
Bill, and while Kevin Harvick's trying to clinch that championship tonight, the 21 team trying to clinch the car owners portion of the championship, give RCR their third NASCAR Busch Series Car Owners Championship. And Burton says the car very good, a little free on exit, but the car is tight at the early portion of the corner. But he says overall the car is very good and exactly what they expected from practice last night.
Thanks, Matt.
Let's see if that 42 gets up on the wall this time on that restart.
Look at him.
Yeah.
The question is Menard going to block up there high as well?
I don't know. You better be careful. That 33's looking. He'll take him down on the low side.
Harvick to second. Under Menard.
Single file right now. Give him a couple laps, get some heat in the tires. 33's on a mission.
Yeah, now we're going to see if Carl can go fast. I know he told his crew chief, yeah, I can go faster.
You have to now.
You have to go faster now. You know what I mean? There's the egos playing here right now. He's going to go as hard as he can go.
7 wins for Kevin Harvick this season. Number 8 tonight.
Uh-oh, trouble, 48.
Jimmy Johnson has been in the wall.
I've seen a lot of veterans have problems.
Okay, buddy.
Well, that's 3/4 of the field, though, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is. And, you know, you have to bring up the point that Tony Stewart had a wicked crash in the Busch race here in May.
Yeah, he hit a ton here in the springtime.
That's a hard hit right there. It doesn't look as bad. It's just slab side of the car, but
I'm not sure that car didn't take off like we were talking about earlier. It looked like that thing just took off and he went up the racetrack and ran out of.
And there he is in the grass.
Asphalt.
Who had the 48?
This is on board with Clint Boyer.
Smoking up there in the front set. Just keep coming. The track's clear. Say hi.
Tony Stewart.
Right there in front of you. Watch him. He's in the grass. He'll come back across.
That's a good example of how much trash really gets thrown up on the racetrack. Sometimes I know sitting there watching a race, and even as a driver, sometimes you say they throw a debris caution, and you look around on the racetrack and you don't see anything. But that's a lot of trash on the racetrack right there.
And also all that stuff is on somebody's grill out there right now. Guarantee you, somebody's got a bunch of grass and dirt on their grill, and they're going to have overheating problems.
Good point.
Jimmy Johnson down pit road. And he'll make the left-hand turn.
He's going to try to make the left-hand turn
into the NASCAR Busch Series garage.
Garage.
You know Jimmy wanted to run well. Lowe's sponsorship at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. He's won 5 of the last 7 Nextel Cup races at this track. I think we had 14 cautions in this race a year ago. And we've had 3 already. 21 laps are complete. And Harvick has really made his moves on the restart. So when we go back to green, we'll see if he can wrestle the lead away from Carl Edwards. Under caution here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway, Carl Edwards, one of the bright young stars of NASCAR, leads. Still under caution here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway, 23 laps complete. This is why we're under caution.
And just like Wally said, you see the car, it just wiggles. He chases it up the racetrack. No more room, man. You're in the wall. And that's all he can do. And that doesn't look like a hard hit, but that's a solid hit because it hits exactly square on the side.
And Wally, this is what you were talking about.
Yeah, look at all the grass on the grill and on the windshield. That's just amazing. So he had to come in, obviously, so he could see. I can't believe he found his pit and cleaned that grill off.
And this is on board with Tony Stewart, so that's what he's looking through.
Yeah, but Tony doesn't mind.
Yeah,
that's
Eldora.
Yeah, that's Eldora. That's 5 nights a week for Tony right there, so it doesn't make any difference.
All right, Matt's with Jimmy Johnson.
That looks like the clay from Eldora. Jimmy, what happened? You just debriefed with Chad Knaus.
Yeah, when I was coming through turn 4, I got a little loose, and by the time I gathered control of the car, I was pointed at the outside wall and pounded it. So too bad. I feel bad for these guys that worked really hard to give me a great race car, and I felt like we were going to have something that we can run up front with tonight. Just got away from me a little bit, and by the time I gathered it and had it under control, I ran out of real estate.
And there you have it. The whole right side of the car is pancaked, and he is done.
Thanks, Matt. Still under caution. A lot of cleanup here after Jimmy Johnson mowed some of the grass at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Carl Edwards is the race leader in the Dollar General 300. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
The world champion Heat struck their title defense against the Bulls. Then the Suns and the Lakers clash in a blockbuster matchup. Watch opening week on TNT, presented by NBA 07 on PlayStation. Bulls, Heat, Suns, Lakers. The truth will be told October 31st at 7 only on TNT.
Field half a lap from getting the green flag after this lengthy caution period. Jimmy Johnson hitting the wall. Carl Edwards is the race leader. Then it's Kevin Harvick, Paul Menard, J.J. Yaley, and Casey Mears. The top 5. So we should look for those cars to have this almost snap out from underneath some.
Absolutely. I mean, you're going so fast here. You're like I said, these cars are so stiff that when they go, it's hard to catch them because they just skate up the racetrack so fast and get in the wall, where it used to be, you know, you had a lane or two to catch it, you had some time, but it's not like that anymore.
Harvick runs second. He's made some nice moves on the restart. See if he can get Edwards here.
Thought about it.
Busch in the 5 car that's out of line, about 5 or 6 cars behind the leader.
Jeff Burton down, taking a look.
Matt Kenseth in the 17, Burton in the 21. That's for 6th.
Gonna take that spot.
Kyle Busch has gotten around both of those guys. It's Kyle Busch in the 5, Casey Mears in the 42. Harvick continues to try and hunt down Carl Edwards for the race lead. Single file back through the first 10.
Up there he goes. 42 slides just a little bit, and that's what you're looking for when you're following a guy down in the corners here at Charlotte. You're just looking for him to bobble or slip a little bit, so he'll move up a lane. When he moves up a lane, you take it.
You take it, and he took it. All that entire pass was made in the center of the corner. When the 42 slipped in the center, it looked like the 5 just drove past him coming off the corner, but the 5 just went to the back, hugged the line, and just took it away from him.
Kenseth easily around Jeff Burton right there.
Yeah, and that's kind of strange because on that last restart, Burton had a really good start that forced the 5 to the high side. The 5 drove around those guys. Burton got caught behind them, but finally got around the 17. But Matt's found a little bit of a groove here all of a sudden and driven back around the 21 car.
Edwards continues to lead. Then it's Harvick, Menard, Yaley, and Kyle Busch. Let's take you through the field, starting with Alan Best.
Well, you know, on the restart previous to this, Bill, Kevin Harvick had a good run at Carl Edwards. When the caution came out, Carl came on the radio, told his team, well, he got going a little bit quicker than I did, but I had the speed to keep him covered, and Carl has kept him covered so far, Dave.
And Kevin Harvick has turned off the air conditioner. He says he's warming up a little bit in the car. Crew Chief Wally Rogers told me before the race he likes it when Kevin drives the car. He breaks things down a little bit more because he's looking at the long run for his teammate.
Trouble for the 21 there, Dave. 21 is way off the pace.
Carburetor. Something broke on the carburetor.
That's Jeff Burton. Matt?
Bill, something amiss in the motor compartment. He says something has broken with the carburetor. We see the 21 car down on the apron trying to nurse his way back to pit road. Solid top 10 run going. This team could have clinched the car owners championship for owner Richard Childress tonight. His team waiting for that car to make its way to pit road to raise the hood and see if there's anything they can do to fix it.
Not going to make it back.
Yeah, he's not going to make it back. He's only midway down the backstretch now.
Should have turned in on the back here. Here.
Yeah, well, that's a lot easier said than done. They tell you that all the time. Turn in right here, turn in right there. Man, all you're trying to do is get back to pit road and get some help.
Where did he want me to turn in?
And normally Harvick would be in that car.
That's
right.
right.
It's like when it's your year and things are going right. You know.
It's your year, man. It's your year.
This car owned by Richard Childress, and as Matt talked about, could have clinched the owner's championship tonight.
We're going to have a caution here in a few seconds.
Yeah.
Number 4.
I'm going to say pit road is probably going to get pretty busy now, too.
Yeah, a handful of guys have been on and off of pit road under the first 3 cautions, but I would imagine the leaders will come down now. 35 laps in. Of those 35 laps have been run under the yellow flag. And there's the car driven by Jeff Burton. So he'll get a push back to the pits.
A couple guys coming in a little bit too early.
Yeah.
The pit lane is not open. That was Dave Blaney in one car, and looks like Jay Sauter in the 01. He must have some other problems. Although Blaney's guys are making looks like a regular pit stop.
Well, that's unusual. Hearing the 32 had a flat. That's why Blaney came down pit road. There is no lucky dog under this caution flag. It would have been Jeff Burton, but since he brought out the caution, he's not eligible. And pit road is still closed. Flag and the light. Carl Edwards leads Kevin Harvick, Paul Menard, Kyle Busch, and J.J. Yaley. Then it's Kenseth, Mears, Skinner, Stephen Light, and Tony Stewart, the top 10. Here's our Outback race fact. Only one of the last 27 Lowe's Busch Series races has been won from the pole. Matt Kenseth did it 6 years ago. And Carl Edwards won't be happy to hear that. These cars qualified here this afternoon. Was an impound race. Qualifying began a little after 5 o'clock. Field was set. racing about 8:17 tonight. Really haven't been able to get up to speed. Working our 4th caution period of the day. Who's the guy that's going to win the championship? Question is, can he do it tonight?
Pit lane, oh, there we go. Pit lane is now open, so I'm sure we'll see a bunch of these guys coming in. Some will take 2, some will take 4.
Coming to you, Dave.
And Kevin Harvick will give up all that track position for an adjustment on his race car, just a little bit tight. Won't turn the corner the way he wants it to. Air out of the right front tire. They'll change 4. Marty.
Dave, some teams may take 2 tires here, but Paul Menard in the middle of your screen, that 11 car will take on 4. Half pound on the right rear tire. A little too loose at the start of that run for Paul's liking, but he said it's fast at the end of the run. Matt?
Fuel only for the 17 of Matt Kenseth. They're trying to top it off almost out of the pit box. And he's away. AB?
Going to be a 4-tire change for Carl Edwards. They've made an air pressure adjustment to the tires that are going on the car. Matt Kenseth has already gone from pit road. Some troubles there on the left rear. And Carl may be behind a couple other cars as well.
Yeah, a lot of traffic getting off of pit road. And some guys that pitted earlier in the race stayed out. So we'll sort out the running order when we come back. Field has just gotten the green. We go back to racing. Top 6 cars did not pit. Matt Kenseth did not take tires in that 17.
Whoa, John Andretti, the rookie, looked like had a little trouble there in 1. He slowed way up. What kind of trouble he having?
Jason Leffler in the 38. Regan Smith in the 35. Those 2 cars pitted back on lap 22.
Wow, look at this pack. These guys were 3 wide getting off of 4 there. Made a little bit of contact. I think Kyle Busch made a little bit of contact with somebody there on the 5 car.
Jeff Burton, who brought out the caution, has returned to the track. J.J. Yaley in the 18 was having a fuel starvation problem. Clint Boyer in the 2 car, one of the teams that took just 2 tires. An update on the championship leader from Dave.
Yeah, where did he go, Bill? That was not a good pit stop. Kevin Harvick told his team so. They did admit, though, that the left rear, they did have trouble. Lug nut popped off when they first put it on the car. Kevin said no excuses, but they did have trouble on the left rear. Marty.
Oh, Marty. Hello, I'm here, yes, listening to J.J. Yaley describe to his team what's going on. No fuel pressure. When they came to pit road, they were running in 4th position. They've diagnosed that it's a fuel pump issue. They're going to have to replace the fuel pump on the 18 car. We've seen a lot of fuel pump problems lately, haven't we, guys? So they're going to fix this. Again, they were running in the top 5 when this problem happened.
Yeah, that bit Jeff Gordon in the Nextel Cup Series a couple of weeks ago. I'm just amazed that Kenseth didn't take tires.
Yeah, I'm amazed that he didn't take tires and he's running as well as he's running right now, because he's outrunning these guys that took 2 or these guys that took 4. And if you remember back to right before the caution came out and stuff, he had begun to find a little bit of a groove and had begun to pass a few people. But early in the race, man, he struggled to find grip in the racetrack.
Gets around Sauter, that is for position. There's Carl Edwards, who was the race leader when the caution came out. Matt Yoakum.
Bill, the 21 car, the team changed the carburetor. Something was broken with that piece. They swapped it out. He has lost 5 laps. And KP, you were inquiring about the 17 of Kenseth. Basically, he said he got a little out of shape on the get-go, but the car very good down in 1 and 2. His issues, though, center around the entry into turn 3, but they didn't take tires because he felt like the car was going to be so much better on a longer run. They just topped her off of fuel.
Thanks, Matt. Carl Edwards trying to work his way back to the front. That gets him 3rd. Allen.
Watching the leader and hanging out in his pit, Bill, Carl Edwards, who fell back, lost some track position because they took 4 tires on their stop. As we have a challenge up front for the lead. A guy who didn't take any tires is running pretty well, huh?
Yeah, Matt Kenseth got it. Go ahead and finish up your story on Carl.
Yeah, just gave up some track position, came on the radio to his team, said, it's okay, we've got a good enough car, we'll get back to the front, I'll just
Because he can be fast when he wants to be.
Carl, he can be fast when he wants to, but I'm going to say something here. That 17 cut through traffic right there, and Carl's struggling to get through traffic on good tires. So Matt and those guys made a great call because obviously he knew what his car was capable of. He knew what the racetrack was, and he felt like, hey, 25 or 30 laps, part of them under caution, no big deal.
Kevin Harvick has worked his way up to 16th after that lengthy pit stop. Looking back at Carl Edwards. This is for third. Inside of Regan Smith. Yep.
Well, some of these guys are going to see a lot of cars coming up in the mirror now. The guys that took 2 tires or 4.
The thing here that you see is just like we see at a lot of other places. Track position is so critical. You see these guys, they started up front, they're able to cut through traffic pretty quick on good tires or whether they took tires or not. But when you go to, if you get hung back in the pack, kind of like the 33 car is right now, he's going to struggle to get back up there.
Dave, are there more issues for the 33?
Yeah, he's going to struggle if he has a flat tire on that 33. He reported it 2 laps ago. He's been diagnosing it from the seat, and he believes it's the right front tire. He's staying out for the moment, but he thinks he has a right front going down. The crew is up on the wall ready for him.
Kevin Harvick, the leader.
Okay, Kevin.
And I'm going to say this right now about Kevin. If he's got a flat tire, he needs to come in and get it changed, because here's the one thing. Everybody else is 4 or 5 laps down. He's in line for the lucky dog. We're going to have some cautions. If he only goes 1 lap down or 2 laps down, he's still going to be the lucky dog for the next couple of cautions. So he's not putting himself in a bad position this early in the race to go a lap down.
That's a good point.
That's easy for you to say when you're up here. Do you say the same thing when you're down there?
No, no.
Well, you know what? I'm not sure he knows what Kyle just said. I mean, you don't know if the guys, you know, that are out there right now 3 or 4 laps down. That's where somebody like the crew chief's got to make that call and look at the board and say, hey, you know, let's go ahead and change it.
Yeah, you know, when you, at a place like this, especially with these Busch cars, they carry so much speed through the entry of the corner and through the center of the corner. When you think you've got something going down, man, it's always better safe than sorry, because we saw what happened to Tony last year. You've seen what happened to the 48 car here. Remember, he's chasing this championship, but he's also chasing the Nextel Cup championship.
How about it, Dave?
Kevin has gone quiet on the radio. The report from the spotter stand was that it looks like it's all the way up, Kevin. And Kyle, those spotters can see with their binoculars whether or not you've got that flat, can't they?
Hey, they can see it, but let me tell you something. I don't trust binoculars. I trust my butt. And if I think I got a flat right front, you know, I'm gonna scream about a flat right front. You can see that it looks like, and I know it's hard to see, but when you see the car, the 33, come down the backstretch and run in a straight line, a couple of camera angles we have, you can see the tires up because it's got camber in it. You can see that the outside of the tire is up off the racetrack a little bit, which means the tire is inflated. So maybe it was just a pressure deal, not enough pressure to get go. Maybe they'll adjust their pressure, go up a pound or so to give Kevin a little bit better feel on new tires next time.
How about it, Dave?
And Kyle, they did take down the air pressure in that right front. That was the adjustment that Kevin wanted to help his car turn better.
And you know, that you call it from the seat, you got to live with it. Believe me, we all make bad calls from the seat. We all make good calls from the seat. But one thing about this racetrack, and especially with these tires, there's so much grip in this racetrack. I know in past weeks we talked about no grip. There's so much grip in this racetrack and in these tires. If you've got down, if you're down on air pressure and you go in and cut the car and it's got so much grip, it just turns out from under you because the tire actually turns left a lot faster than you want it to. And when that happens, man, you feel like it's going down.
Yeah, and Dave, is his car loose right now?
He has not reported that, Wally. He has been silent on the radio ever since his spotter assured him that it looked okay. But again, he had asked the air pressure to be taken down, and that was the adjustment he wanted. So,
because it almost looks like he's afraid to turn the steering wheel, that it's turning too good. You go down in the corner and you see the car go up the racetrack, but he's not tugging on the wheel, so it's almost like it's turning too good.
Exactly. It's like it's turning too good. Last night when we went to qualify, we had been really good in practice, and this is a Kyle Petty story, sorry. But we'd been pretty good in practice. But with the grip and the racetrack and the way it was, when I turned in the corner, instead of chattering the right front, it just turned left and turned out from under me. I never expected that, and maybe that's what Kevin's experiencing here. We're sitting in the booth. We're not in the car. I'm not second-guessing anybody, but maybe, like Wally says, he's going up the racetrack like he's afraid to really hammer it down into the corner.
Your job up here is the second guess, buddy.
Okay, thank you.
Matt Kenseth leads Carl Edwards by 0.7 of a second. 56 laps are complete in the Dollar General 300 at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. TNT Sports live at the Lowe's Motor Speedway in Concord, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte. NASCAR Busch Series Racing. Matt Kenseth is the race leader by about 1.5 seconds now over Carl Edwards. There are 34 cars right now on the lead lap. Let's take you through the field, starting with Matt and Matt.
Out front, yarding the competition is Matt Kenseth by almost 2 seconds. Now, the team took this race car from the Lowe's Motor Speedway back in May after they lost an engine and just parked it in the back of the shop and brought it here. It was so good, they just wanted to see if it could complete the deal. Right now, he is out front. AB?
Carl Edwards, after getting shuffled back by the pit strategy of others, has sliced his way back up to second. Right now trying to deal with a little bit of lap traffic. And he says the air pressure adjustment that he called for on the last pit stop was maybe not the right thing, but they're hanging right in, Dave. Oh.
Kevin Harvick taking no chances now. He's going to bring the 33 car down pit road. It's definitely flat now. Billy, you can see it without binoculars.
Yes.
We have a zoom camera lens, though. So he's going to take on 4, even though they know it's the right front, and get this over with now. Obviously not safe, as Kyle Petty was talking about. Come down pit road and get this done, and they're going to change all 4.
Oh, boy, I don't know, Kyle. He may be not the guy in a lucky dog spot now, taking those extra 2.
Yeah, now they begin to catch the back of the traffic. Now the official's holding him here for some reason. They're struggling with this left front. This pit crew they're struggling tonight.
Can't get the lug nut on there. So Kevin Harvick heads back out. We'll see where he falls in on the scoring chart. There's Matt Kenseth, the race leader. So some wacky stuff on Friday the 13th. Continue going through the field. We'll keep an eye on that 33 car. Matt.
Now we're catching up on the 5 of Kyle Busch, who runs in the 3rd position. His lap time's about 1/10 of a second faster than leader Matt Kenseth. No changes on the car the last time down pit road. He did ask his team, though, to take a look at that right front fender. Contact with another car. They told him, no issues, you're good to go. Dave?
Casey Mears getting big attaboys from crew chief Brad Parrott. He was chattering the fronts on the last run, and they changed 4 tires, raised the track bar, took the spring rubber out of the left rear. The car was loose in and tight off the corner. Now, Jason Leffler stayed out on that last caution. They had pitted during the caution for Jimmy Johnson's wreck, so they decided to just stay out anyway. He did take on fuel only, though, so those tires have a few laps on them. Marty?
Well, Dave, Todd Cleaver has his car up in the top 10 thanks to a fuel-only stop last time down pit road. Currently in the 6th position. Same car he finished 9th with here in May. On the first run, a little bit too loose. He made a wedge adjustment. Now he's too tight. Just need to find that middle ground, Matt.
And the 00 of Johnny Sauter had some radio issues earlier. Now that has ceased. Now they're okay. The car, though, balance-wise, loose on exit, a little too snug in the center, just trying to lock down that 10th position in the championship standings. Meanwhile, the 35 of Regan Smith, quiet on the radios. We move on back. His car, though, he says tight in the middle. They made a track bar adjustment on their last stop. All quiet on the radio since his stop. Marty?
Behind Regan Smith is Clint Boyer in the 2 car on lap 38. When they stopped, as Bill mentioned, just 2 tires. He said, man, this thing will not turn for anything. Way too tight for Clint Boyer. Dave?
Tonight, Reed Sorensen started way back in the field because his car got out of shape in qualifying. They've been moving up through the pack, and the last report from him before the last pit stop, about a 3 on the tight side. They changed 2 right side tires and changed the wedge in the car. Marty?
Dave, when he came to pit road last time, Paul Menard was running 3rd. Now he's out of the top 10 in 11th. He said these sticker tires are junk. There's just no grip out here. But what it takes a long time for that car to come in. Once it does, he's pretty good. But he's also a lot of track position waiting for that car to come to him, Alan.
Here's the AV stretch of through the field because I got 4 in a row. Tony Stewart driving the 8 car for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. No changes on his pit stop. Says his car is a little bit lacking back-end grip on entry to the corner. He is just lost the 12th position. Jamie McMurray just went by him. Some concern on McMurray's car. Remember the Jimmy Johnson crash that kicked up all the mud? Some of that on the grill of the 64. Water temp had gone up to 240. They got it cleaned off. on the pit stop. McMurray running in the 12th spot now. Scott Wimmer pitted back at lap 22 when most everybody stayed out, then stayed out when most everybody pitted at lap 37. He regained some track position up to 14th. He started 33rd. And the 20 car of Denny Hamlin, remember, he also got his windshield and his grill covered in the mud and the debris from the Jimmy Johnson crash, so he had to pit at lap 22. They took fuel only at lap 37 to try and regain some of their lost track position.
Nicely done, Alan.
Thank you, sir.
Kevin Harvick is currently scored 35th in the running order, 2 laps down, and a long way back in the race for the lucky dog. Matt Kenseth leads at Charlotte. Matt Kenseth is the race leader. That's the race for 3rd.
That's a close race for 3rd.
Casey Mears.
Yep, took it from Kyle Busch.
Kenseth leads Carl Edwards by 1.7 seconds. And just getting back to the Harvick situation, what he needs is for this to stay green for a long time and to actually cycle through so everybody else has to stop under the green like he did.
Well, but he's still going to be 2 laps down. I mean, he's right now 3 laps down with a lot of guys ahead of him that are only 1 or more. What's he saying, David? Is that thing still rubbing?
Well, yeah, you guys have talked about this. It's Friday the 13th already, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, something spooky going on with that 33 car.
Very good, Dave.
Kevin believes that there is something rubbing the right front tire. And again, Kyle, this is what your butt tells you versus what your crew tells you. They tell Kevin nothing's rubbing. They're looking for smoke, an indication that something's rubbing there. They're telling him there's nothing rubbing. So Kevin drives on, but he thinks there's something amiss in the right front of that race car.
Your butt is never wrong.
It
I'll
wasn't
tell you
wrong
that right now.
Yeah, and it was not wrong for Kevin Harvick on that last one. I don't care who was looking through binoculars. It was not wrong. Kevin knew it was going down. You feel the car through your hands. You feel the car through the seat. You totally feel the car with your body. And you can tell when the car changes attitudes or something goes a little bit different. And if Kevin thinks it's rubbing, you know, he may be in a position where it went from really, really good to a little bit loose or a little bit pushy, and he thought the tire was going down. He may have a right front spring that's collapsed. The way these guys run on these springs coal binding like this, once they get down and don't start recovering, they change their ride heights. And when it changes ride heights, it totally changes the way the car drives.
0-0. Johnny Sauter is in 6th spot. Right behind him, Jason Leffler.
The 10 of Andretti is a lap down back in 31st. But he made that interesting there. Well, Sauter completed the pass. Update on car 38 from Dave.
Yeah, pretty good race car for Jason Leffler, but right now he's complaining that the car is a little bit tight going into the corners. He's suggesting a wedge adjustment on the next stop, but how about a set of fresh tires? They haven't taken any yet tonight, so he's going to need some during the next stop.
I'll tell you what, the fact that Kenseth is running like that without taking tires is...
Yeah, you know, you expect Kenseth to run really good here, just like we talked about the first race and how good he is. But I'm going to tell you something. Sauter and Leffler, you look at those guys, they didn't take tires either. They stayed out, and they've been able to maintain 5th, 6th, 7th position, and they're not that far back from Kenseth. When you look at the amount of laps we've run, they've only lost 6 or 7 seconds. That's really not that bad. They're hanging tight, too, and that's where that track position has paid off for them.
Report that they're looking at the 17 now for smoke.
Yeah, look at there.
Yeah.
21 smoking, too.
You know, I'm going to tell you something. It's not like it used to be. Used to, you'd be out there running. You'd see smoke. Everybody checks up. Now these guys run this coil bounce suspension and some of the things they run. There's tire rub every lap on somebody's car. You can pick up smoke. You're running down the straightaway. You catch it out of the corner of your eye. There's a lot of tire smoke and a lot of things that go on. So, you know, whether that's tire or whatever it is.
Casey Mears on pit road.
Dave?
How about a window of opportunity? Have you ever seen Brad Parrott play the fuel mileage game here before? He's going to try it again. They're coming early to take on Ford tires, fill it full of fuel, and this will put them in a fuel window. Now, I haven't done the math yet, but that is the reason there's pitting. There's nothing wrong with the 42 car. In fact, it's very fast.
Well, do the math, Dave, because we're all lost up here.
We'll see how that plays out.
I mean, I mean, I know what they're doing, but that's kind of early to be doing that, isn't it?
It's way early in a race known for cautions and when things happen to be playing the fuel mileage card this early. But when you look at the way Kenseth and these guys have run on old tires, it's not a bad call if you think it's going to go that way.
Matt Kenseth is the race leader, 86 laps complete in the Dollar General 300. You're watching the NASCAR Busch Series on TNT. We've been green since lap 41. 92 laps are complete. Matt Kenseth is the race leader. Our Energizer lap leaders. Kenseth has led for 47, about to make it 48. Carl Edwards started from the pole. Jason Leffler used pit strategy to get out front. There's Matt, 17 car.
If you pan right just a little bit, there's Carl Edwards in the 60 car.
How did you do that?
Oh. I'm one with the truck.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Alan.
Just a little update on Carl Edwards there. Billy came on the radio about 6 laps ago and told his team he thought he had a tire going flat. So they all jumped up on the wall. Then he came back and said, well, no, maybe not. It's not that bad. And then he said, well, there's just something weird going on in the steering of this car, like it's binding up or something. And a big long pause. And then he said, I don't know. It's just weird. Sounds like Friday the 13th there, too, huh?
Yeah. And weird's never good, is it?
No, I don't think at 185 miles an hour it's very good.
So what's your excuse, Webby?
True, that's true. The other thing that's the other thing that's happening here is, remember, this is a brand new left side tire. Okay, yes. This is the first time anybody's put 50 or 60 crash.
Oh, and those guys were running so good. Reed Sorensen was in the 5th position. And those guys were having a really, really good run tonight.
And 9th in the championship standings.
Well, look at a rotor bouncing across the racetrack. Don't want to hit that.
Lots of sparks. Our 5th caution, and this hurts the guys that stopped under the green.
Wow, look at that. Yeah. Nothing you can do when that happens but hang on and grit your teeth.
And that is a hard hit because it goes up, and that's a bad angle. That's just a hard hit.
Mike Skinner's going to be the lucky dog. He will come around and be just the 17th car on the lead lap, and we're not quite to halfway.
Yeah, Matt was putting them down pretty hard there. That last 15-20 lap run, he was putting a bunch of guys down a lap.
Yeah, he lapped from about 31st to 32nd to about 17th in about 10 laps. It seemed like he was moving on.
Kevin Harvick trying to clinch the Busch Series championship, currently scored 34th, 2 laps down. So it's Kenseth, Edwards, Kyle Busch, Todd Cleaver, Paul Menard, Clint Boyer, Jamie McMurray in the 7th spot. Then Tony Stewart, Hamlin, and Stephen Light. Marty.
Bill, this is an impressive run for Todd Cleaver. He had a nice night. He kept it in the top 5, actually moved up into 4th, hits pit road, running 4th, bottom of your screen, that 06 car. They're going to put a ½ pound in the left front tire. He said he wants it to be a little bit tighter earlier in the run. Matt?
On the top of your screen, the 17 of Matt Kenseth, 2-time winner here at Lowe's. Now, he said the car was tight in traffic, but other than that, it was really good on those older tires. Jimmy Fitting, the crew chief, just making a small air pressure change on the left side tires. Amy?
Middle frame of the screen, Carl Edwards coming in from 2nd place. Air pressure adjustments going down on all 4 tires, and he is going to take the lead off of pit road.
Here they come. And I would imagine some of those Nextel Cup crew chiefs are going to go down and look at those tires off the 17 car.
They're going to go look at everybody's tires because it's the same thing. Nobody has run that many laps on this left side tire yet. That's the first run. So the crew chiefs that are down there, here's a race off pit road. You see the 60 car beats them handily. And you see these 2 cars. The interesting point was during that pit stop, you didn't see anybody with a wedge wrench. Everything was air pressure adjustments. So as bad as everybody was complaining, nobody made a major adjustment to the car.
Reed Sorensen bringing out the caution. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Checking out the tires. TNT Sports is at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. We're in Concord, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte. Beautiful October evening. Here's our freecreditreport.com pit summary. Matt Kenseth came in the race leader, but Carl Edwards won the race off of pit road. Kyle Busch went in 3rd, came out 3rd. Our freecreditreport.com pit summary. They continue to work on the track conditions here, trying to clean up some oil, so while they're under caution, that's Robbie Reiser, Matt Kenseth's Nextel Cup crew chief, talking to his tire specialist. We'll talk on a break. Time for the Holiday Inn race recap, and Wally and Kyle will take you through it on a chilly night here in October.
Look at all these happy people, Kyle.
Just happy to be at the racetrack.
Lap 2, trouble. Casey Kane in the wall, gets a tap by David Rudiman.
And Greg Biffle gets a piece of it right there.
Hate when that happens.
Jimmy Johnson.
Just lost it up in 4, tried to catch it, ran out of room. Kevin Harvick, flat right front tire.
And that was only part of the issue. Crew took a long time making the pit stop. And that's our most recent caution. Reed Sorensen with a hard hit into the wall. Our Holiday Inn race recap. Thank you, gentlemen.
Excellent job there.
Green, green, green.
Kyle, you were all over it.
I was. I tried.
Just past halfway.
Whoa, I wouldn't do that.
Sauter in the 00 and Leffler in the 38 are on the tail end of the lead lap, but in front of the race leader, Carl Edwards.
Not for long.
Those two cars racing to stay on the lead lap, then they'll be racing for the lucky dog. Trying to keep Carl Edwards behind them. Edwards is not going to wait. 3 wide. See ya. Matt Kenseth on the move. Edwards trying to get under Sauter for the lead.
We got a wrecking off before.
Sliding through the grass.
A bunch of cars in this one.
That's Mike Skinner in the 12.
I mean, I saw Tony Stewart, Brad Baker there in a 72 car. There's the 8 car. He's getting above Dave Blaney. He just loses it. And I mean, the 44 loses it at the same time.
Yeah, it's hard to tell whether the 44 lost it or got hit by the 20 because it was like synchronized spinning.
This will be coming right at you now.
Well, Denny Hamlin did a really nice job.
It looked like Kenny Wallace did too.
Getting through that mess.
There's Skinner. And this is on board with Stewart.
He'll lose it right here, right back when he's getting on the throttle.
Well, the good news, I got good news.
There are good news and bad news.
Whoa.
Come on.
He was a little bit long getting off the throttle on that one.
Yes, he was. I agree.
It's Regan Smith in that 35 car. Well, the big mess just past halfway at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Carl Edwards leads Matt Kenseth, and we're under caution again. TNT Sports at the Lowe's Motor Speedway under our 6th caution of the day for a multi-car wreck coming off a turn 4. As Tony Stewart in that 8 car goes around. And the big mess is right behind him.
Jeff Burton, another guy that got right through that, similar to last week. Happened right in front of him. Looked like he had a fender all over the 8.
I don't think the 8 ever hits anything.
Alan, you busy down there?
Just watching the pit stop the 8 just made, Bill.
Okay.
Tony came on the radio and said he had bad news for the team. He spun. But he had good news. He didn't hit anything. So then there was about 2 laps of silence on the radio under the caution, and then Tony Eury Jr. came on and said, you think you want 4 fresh tires on the car? And Tony came back and said, yeah, they probably ought to do that.
There you see the drivers involved in the crash. So we've got 16 cars right now on the lead lap, and Carl Edwards continues to lead. Still under caution here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway, so you can log on to SI.com for breaking sports news, scores, stats, analysis, and more. And for more on NASCAR and Lars Anderson's power rankings, go to SI.com today. Got 108 laps complete, 92 to go. We've had 6 cautions. Want to report that Reed Sorensen has been treated and released from the infield care center. He was the previous caution. Right now under the yellow for a multi-car wreck. Started coming off of turn 4. There's Carl Edwards, the race leader. Then it's Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, Todd Cleaver, and Paul Menard. 17 cars on the lead lap. Championship leader Kevin Harvick is 28, 2 laps down after a flat right front and a long pit stop. Stuck in another commercial break here. We're still under caution here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway, a 300-mile event for the NASCAR Busch Series. Tomorrow night, the chase continues. The Bank of America 500. And our coverage begins at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, and the green flag tomorrow night, 7:20 Eastern Time. So we come on the air, we'll get you all set, and take you right to the green flag tomorrow night, the Bank of America 500. And mark the halfway mark in the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. You can see the number of starts by each of the 10 drivers in the chase and how they've done here. Jimmy Johnson has dominated at this track lately. Mark Martin, a 4-time winner here, and so is Jeff Gordon. But Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Casey Kane had a lot of starts at this track. See how it all plays out tomorrow night. The Bank of America 500. Field has gotten the 1 to go signal. Let's check in with Alan.
And see if we can get Pierre Catello over here. I surprised him by startling. Race car's pretty good. Can you handle the 17 for the rest of the distance?
Well, that 17 car is always tough, you know, so we're going to try to do the best we can. He's pretty happy with the car right now. We're just going to go after it and see what we got for these last few laps.
One more stop in the race, you think?
I think there's going to be one more stop, yeah, definitely. So we'll just see how that plays out with cautions and everything else.
All right, Pierre, thanks.
Thank you, Alan. 17 cars on the lead lap when we go back to green. Jason Leffler in the 38, the lucky dog. So it's Carl Edwards, Kenseth, Kyle Busch, Todd Cleaver, Paul Menard, Jamie McMurray, Clint Boyer, Denny Hamlin, Danny O'Quinn Jr. in 9th, and Stephen Light, a couple of rookies, in 10th. Augie Vidovich back there in the 4 car in 11th, and Tony Stewart in 12th. Coming to the green, there'll be 88 to go.
Green, green, green.
Cleared the 42 car pretty quick. Casey Mears, Matt Kenseth is still trying to get by him. And he does want to get by him because every lap he runs side by side with Casey Mears, Carl Edwards is going to get out there a little bit further.
And there's Kevin Harvick in that 33 car. 2 laps down in the 27th position, but he might be able to race his way back up to the front and get 1 lap back on the track here.
He probably has one of the few cars that's capable of making a lap up on the racetrack without the lucky dog.
Had a tire issue, had to come to pit road under green, then had a very lengthy stop. Harvick trying to nail down the Busch Series championship tonight. Would be the earliest it's ever been done in the history of the series. Inside of Kyle Busch.
Oh, we got trouble on the backstretch.
Car on the inside, a couple of them.
Oh, Jeff Burton and Vidovich in the 4 car.
Right across the track.
Oh, the 23.
That's a lousy
Keselowski just hammers the wall.
A lot of damage to Jeff Burton's car. There's Brad.
I couldn't stop.
Yeah, Brad had no place to go. When that all happened and they come back up the racetrack, he had no place to go. He had to take evasive action and go to the left or drive through the door of the 4-car.
It looks like the 4-car, Vidovich just loses it getting off of 2 there and just collects Burton, who was trying to avoid it. Oh, man, that is a hit that 4-car took. Wow. And these guys were just avoiding Vidovich coming up the racetrack, and I don't know who that red car was. He did a good job, and Keselowski just didn't make it.
I'm going to tell you, that's 3 of the hardest hits you'll see in one accident at the same time, because this car, the 4-car, took a wicked hit on the inside there, and then Brad right here, that's driver's side right there, and it just slaps you up next to the roll bars. But when you see Burton hits the 4-car hard enough to lift the 4-car off the ground.
Yeah, I mean, that right rear is just buried in that 4-car.
That's a hard hit right there.
Watch that right rear just get, I mean, drilled. Who is that right car?
I think that's Michael Waltrip. This is on board with Stewart.
I don't think that's Michael. Michael's in the 99, is he? I know that 4 bunch had a lot of sponsor people here this week.
Yes. Seventh caution. Still under caution here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Now at Sunoco, NASCAR race points. Every 10-gallon fill-up earns you 200 race points. Go toward cool NASCAR rewards. During the chase for the Cup, every race point you earn is a chance to win the chase for the Race Points sweepstakes. Get your race points at Sunoco today. Go to NASCAR.com or a participating Sunoco location for details.
That was a tough one for you, wasn't it, Bill?
I had to get a breath there. They're going to red flag the field and park the cars on pit road while they clean up the debris on the backstretch. And it's Ted Musgrave that made the nice move on the backstretch.
Very nice job.
Here's another look at why the race is now going to be put under the red flag. We saw Jeff Burton climb out of his car a few moments ago, and there's Augie Vidovich getting out of the 4-car. Heavy damage to that 9-laps Dodge. There's Burton's car. That was the car that could have clinched the Owners' Championship tonight, but that will have to wait a couple of weeks. And the field has come to pit road. Red flag here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. NASCAR Busch Series Racing presented by the Outback Steakhouse. Under the red flag after a multi-car crash on the backstretch. Let's check in with Dave Burns.
With Augie Vidovich now. Augie, take us through what happened coming off the corner 2.
We're racing. I was pushing pretty hard and just lost it. Just tried too hard, got out from under me, and we had a good car tonight. I feel really bad for the 9 lives and Morris the Million Cat Rescue. It's a bummer. Really wanted to win the money for the cats, and at least they're getting something out of it. And man, if you could all help us save cats, that'd be awesome.
You guys had changed that race car right before that, right?
Yeah, we did some adjustments, but that had nothing to do with the wreck. It was for the better because we were pretty tight in the run there, and we're trying hard, and our result before that was showing it. So I can't thank my crew enough, and Fred Biaggi and Bill Dembesi, everybody behind me.
And you thank him for building a sturdy race car, I assume?
You always thank them for that. So.
That was a big hit back there.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't see it. I just closed my eyes.
Yeah. Augie's okay. Walked out under his own power, obviously, and sorry to be out of the wreck. Out of the race, that is, guys.
And down here at the front of the field with the race leader, Carl Edwards, who's sitting here patiently waiting for the cleanup and probably getting harassed by his crew. I could see it in his eyes. Tell me about your race car and about your race to this point, Carl.
Well, yeah, really, it was Matt Kenseth's the one harassing me. Somehow he's got on my frequency here, but I'm leaving the mic open so he can hear me here. He says he's going to pass me, but he's going to be man enough to do it on the racetrack, not in the pits. But I don't think he can do it. I think this duct tape fusion is a little better than his MaraQuest one. But I don't know. I'm having fun, man. It's a fun race.
Track conditions, what you expected them to be? Or are you learning anything out there that you weren't expecting?
Yeah, it's a little bit little different than I thought. The track's got a ton of grip, and PK and the guys got the car almost perfect. I mean, there's really, I don't have any complaints. I can tell it's a little bit treacherous off the corners. Every once in a while it gets a little bit loose, but the biggest thing is I'm having a blast, man. It's been a while since I've had a car this good and just been able to enjoy running up front like this, so I'm having fun.
All right, Carl, now you've got about 80 laps to go in the race. You're expecting one more pit stop. Are you expecting to have to do anything different to this race car based on the way the track conditions have developed through the night?
That's a good question. I can't quite tell. I can't quite tell, if the car's going to get real tight or not. We've made some air pressure adjustments, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully we don't have to do anything.
What he does have to do is go to work right now. We're going to get out of the way.
Alan, Jeff Burton joining us now, walking from the infield care center. Are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine. Not a good night for the Coast Guard Chevrolet.
It was an odd night.
Yeah, we had a fast car, but the carburetor, something broke in the carburetor and lost power. And then, so we got 5 or 6 laps down, and then we were riding around. And I saw Tony check up because the guy on the outside of him, in front of him on the outside, must have gotten loose. But he was in my blind spot because I was kind of under Tony, and I didn't see it. So I saw Tony check up, and I couldn't get slowed down. And I don't know what happened, but I hit a lot of stuff.
And you hit pretty hard, too. You okay? I mean, I already asked you that. Was that a pretty hard hit?
I didn't hit as hard as whoever that was that went flying across the track. He hit hard, but
that was Augie.
Yeah, I mean, he hit hard, but I hate it for these, the Coast Guard deal. It's really been a great, great effort all year long, and we had a good car tonight. We just didn't put it together.
And Jeff, did you have enough time to pick up some information for tomorrow night's run, or a good enough car while it was running?
I mean, we just got in such a bad situation. We ended up with left side tires on and no rights, and I don't think we learned anything tonight other than you don't want to wreck. But I knew that before the race.
We all knew that. We're glad you're okay. Bill?
Thank you, Dave. The engines have refired. You see the cars rolling off of pit road. The 42 of Casey Mears will be the lucky dog. 17 cars. Field about to get the green flag. They'll restart after 120 laps. 80 laps to go. Carl Edwards is the race leader. Kevin Harvick 2 laps down, the lead car in that inside lane.
Be good. Harvick got through the corner a little bit better, but that outside lane still rules if you come off side by side. Kenseth slides up the racetrack a little bit. Kyle Busch and a 5 car gets underneath him.
Harvick gets a position on Edwards. Allen.
And just before the restart, Carl was on his radio asking his crew chief, Pierre Cattell, where Kevin Harvick was, why he was laps down, and then he said, think he's probably going to want his lap back, huh? Well, we'll see what happens.
Well, right now he's got one of them back.
He needs to get at least one of them back legitimately on the racetrack to be able to take advantage of the lucky dog, because there's 5 or 6 guys in front of him right now that have to get their laps, or can't get their laps back from the lucky dog before they ever get to the 2-lap down cars.
Of course, at this rate, if there were 17 cars a lap down, they're all going to get a lucky dog.
True.
Todd Cleaver there in the 06 car. He's running pretty good. 4th spot right now.
Caution down, caution down.
Danny O'Quinn. Caution number 8.
And Harvick will get one of those laps back.
Yep. And the question is, where will his buddies in that inside lane let him restart?
We really have no buddies in that inside lane.
Watching the 50.
Just got loose underneath the 42 car of Casey Mears. Got her locked down. Definitely going to need some tires.
around coming off of turn 2. Dave Blaney will be the lucky dog. And as Kyle pointed out, Harvick did get one of his laps back on the track.
How lucky is that?
That was amazing. I kept waiting for the shot to see whether he got into the wall at all. But I mean, that's just perfect. The inside wall opens up and he slides right into that little hole and the car stops. It's hard to believe he spun coming out of turn 2 and ends up almost all the way at the end of the backstretch against the wall. That's how far that car slid.
Well, believe it or not, we're under caution at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Carl Edwards is the race leader, 77 laps to go. We're getting ready to go back to green. We had one stretch of 56 green flag laps. That's the only stretch of more than 10 green flag laps consecutively. We've gone 2 laps, 8 laps, 3 laps, 8 laps, 2 laps, 4 laps, 3 laps, and a bunch of cautions, 8 of them so far. 75 laps to go. We'll try it again. Kevin Harvick came to pit road, got himself 4 fresh tires.
Green, green, green.
He's at the end of that inside lane in the 33 car. Edwards is the race leader.
First 3 cars are going to clear Wimmer.
Edwards, Kenseth, Kyle Busch. Good on that long green flag run and did it on all tires.
Yeah, these 2 cars in the front have not been, I don't think, since they dropped the green flag, on the same tires, on equal tires. This is the first time during the race that each of them have the same amount of laps on their tires, because when Kenseth was really out front, he had an extra 35 laps on his tires. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out on equal stuff.
Kyle Busch runs third in that 5 car.
First 3 cars are running real even, running almost exactly the same line. 17 pulls up a little bit on Edwards. Kenseth's right behind him now.
Update on 17 from Matt.
His tires look great, Bill, after that long run. Robbie Reiser's Nextel Cup crew chief was down looking at them, as well as a tire specialist from his 17 Nextel team. You know, he says the car is a little bit tight in traffic, but not bad at all. Meanwhile, the car right behind him, as he's trying to put a move on his teammate, the 5 of Kyle Busch, said his car was tight. On a scale of 1 to 10, about a 3. They made some adjustments for that on his last stop.
Thanks, Matt. A lot of guys down there looking at those tires that came off the 17.
Really, not a lot of people, Bill. From the Roush Racing organization, really just Robbie Reiser. Okay. And then they went from the 17 on down pit road to look at what some other teams had that came off their cars. But that was pretty much it.
Thanks. Kenseth has been in 18 Busch races this year and has led in 14 of them, including tonight.
I'll tell you what, if Carl Edwards could just keep that car where he's running, he's gonna be tough to pass.
He's going to be tough to pass, and I think you saw right there, you saw Kenseth go up and run in the middle of the racetrack just to see what it was like, because he knows if Carl keeps protecting that bottom line, he's not going to be able to go around him that way. He's going to have to find another way, and that's the one thing about these 2 cars as we watch them in the first part of the run, or the first part of the race. They're running identical grooves, and that's the one strange thing about racing, I guess. If somebody's in your way, you can't get around them, dude. So you see Matt's already experimenting with going up the racetrack a little bit.
And lost ground doing it.
He lost ground on the previous lap, but, you know, eventually if it sticks up there a couple of laps, he makes a little ground if you see it. He loses it instant or right at the exit of the corner, but by the end of the straightaway, he seems to close back up. So he's getting a good, strong run up off the corner by running high through 3 and 4. It's just not translating right now while everybody's on pretty cool tires or pretty fresh tires.
Leaders stopped on lap 96. We're on 133 right now, but 23 of those roughly 37 laps have all been under caution. Update on Todd Cleaver from Marty.
I do, Bill. I just want to talk about what an impressive run it's been for this young man tonight. You know, he's kept it up in the top 10, top 5. A lot of times you see young guys get into the top 10 and they'll fall out. Todd has progressively gone forward. And think about what he's gone through this week. For the last year, he thought he was going to be the next driver of the 6th Nextel Cup Series car, was going to be the man to replace Mark Martin. Found out this week that's no longer the case. He's going to be staying in the Busch Series for Roush Racing this year. So he was pretty devastated by that news. Certainly driving with a purpose and a point to prove tonight as well, guys.
Yeah, I would think he's highly motivated, Marty.
I would say he's definitely highly motivated. And Jack Roush has been in the pit all night long, supporting him, trying to give him as much encouragement as he can. Has been on the radio with the young man, but he has been very impressive tonight, even though Paul Menard's going to pass him right here.
Menard gets the spot, and now the 64 McMurray's going to try and take that spot, Alan.
Yeah, pretty nice run for Jamie so far tonight, Bill. He told me before the start of the race he expected to fall back in the opening run of the race. You have to start the race on the same tires you qualify on because it's an impound race in the Busch Series. So they purposefully took the worst set of tires they felt like from those that they practiced and put them on the car to qualify, figuring they'd be on the car the shortest period of time in the race. McMurray has moved up nicely after he lost some track position earlier, and he is back to 5th position. Marty?
And we were giving Todd Cleaver all this love, Alan. He has now had to switch ignition boxes. He has a battery problem in that 06 car. He did go to the backup box while we were talking about him, but losing voltage, he's going to have to come to pit road. Obviously, they're having electrical problems on the 06 car. He was running 4th a second ago. Now he's looking at falling out of the top 10, Bill.
Good job, Marty.
Might be a plug wire or something.
Yeah, and when he went by that last time, it sounded like he was down on a, or there was a car that sounded like they were down a cylinder. So it could be more problems than just switching the ignition box.
So Marty put the whammy on.
Yeah, that car doesn't sound too good.
Straightaway is livened up, and then it just dies out right away.
Yeah, he's way down on power on the straight. He's okay in the corners.
Well, that's too bad because he was having a strong run. That's Tony Stewart going by. Sauter in the 00.
Yeah, he's got probably. I guess they'll probably just keep him out there until he gets lapped.
Until he gets lapped. He's really got nothing to lose. You know, he's driven a great race. No matter what you say, he's driven a great race. Just like Marty and those guys were talking about him, whether they put the hex on him or the whammy on tonight or not, he's driven a great race. It's just the best thing to do is stay and ride it out.
That's Tony Stewart in that 8 car. He's had an eventful evening, Alan.
Yeah, and just want to follow up on that, Bill. He spun back at lap 103 off turn 4. Remember, did not hit anything. They came down pit road twice under the ensuing caution flag. Changed his set of tires. Pardon me, also bent the right front fender out away from that tire. Tony only fell back to 14th at that time. Not bad. Matt?
And the 00 right behind him, Johnny Sauter. A great run he's having, rebounding. He pitted back on lap 91, and the caution came out. Got the lucky dog, and he's worked his way back through. Right now running in that 9th position, trying to lock down 10th in the championship standings this season.
Kevin Harvick trying to get that in position for that lucky dog is in a nasty pack. Well behind the race leaders. There's Harvick in that 33 car. And they thought about going 3 wide coming out of 4 last time.
He cut through the first 4 or 5 cars that were 1 lap down, but once he got to the 25 car, Ashton Lewis has held him off pretty good for about the past 6 or 7 laps.
Dave?
Pretty good rebound for him, and if they can remain, or if they can get the lucky dog and move their way up, that would be even better. A little tight on the last run, just an air pressure adjustment for fresh tires. So very good race car, as you guys have noted, still for the 33.
Thanks, Dave. He's got to catch a couple of guys. Got 57 laps or so to do it. But Carl Edwards has pulled away by more than a second. He leads Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, Paul Menard, and Jamie McMurray at Charlotte. Lowe's Motor Speedway just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, and it will be packed tomorrow night. 150,000 or so will be here to watch the stars of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series in the Bank of America 500. Fifth race in the chase for the Nextel Cup. NASCAR Race Day gets your engines revving right before the race. We'll have analysis interviews live from the track. NASCAR Race Day Speed tomorrow, 5 o'clock. And our NBC coverage, 7 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow night. And don't forget, 7:20 green flag tomorrow night over on NBC. Carl Edwards trying to get his weekend off to a big start. It's Matt Kenseth by 1.2 seconds. And he's going to hurt Harvick's chances because he's going to start lapping guys again.
Yeah, he's going to catch up to, I think, O'Quinn in the 50 car is his next victim, putting cars a lap down. So, yeah, now it's a moving target. As longer this thing stays green, the tougher it is for Harvick to be the first car one lap down.
And the guys on pit road will have better numbers, but I'd say in about 10 laps or so, we'll be looking for the leaders headed for pit road. Set the stage for that. Do a top 10 through the field for you, Alan.
Yeah, let's talk about Carl Edwards, who is discussing with Pierre Cotell right now the air pressure adjustments he wants made to his tires for their final stop. I would say anywhere from 10 to as many as 20 laps because of all the cautions, Bill, for that stop. Matt?
And the same goes for his teammate Matt Kenseth. Now, he says his car could stand to be a little freer, especially in traffic following his teammate Carl Edwards. The biggest issue, though, is on entry. Meanwhile, the 5 of Kyle Busch, he has 2 Busch and 2 truck victories here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Has only 1 win this season. Says the car is really good. They didn't make any adjustments on their last stop. Marty?
Matt, most everybody looking about 18 laps from now, around lap 170 to make their pit stop. Paul Menard, he is extremely loose at the beginning of the run, but right now is when Menard is very good, just a little bit snug, but this is the sweet spot of his run, if you will. Alan?
Jamie McMurray has had a nice run for himself. He is expected to pit around lap 159. He says this race car has been a great relief for him after the struggle his Cup season has been. He's up to 5th. Marty?
Earlier on, Alan, about the struggles Clint Boyer has had here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. In fact, he has 3 straight finishes of 32nd or worse. Well on his way to ridding himself of that problem tonight. Running 6th right now. Car's starting to get a little too tight. Won't turn like he would like. Alan?
Very nice recovery for Denny Hamlin and the Joe Gibbs Racing 20 tonight. Remember, they were caught up and had some damage at lap 22 when Jimmy Johnson crashed. Had to make an extra pit stop. Went back to 33rd at the time. You can see they moved well back up into the top 10. Matt?
Johnny Sauter in the 00 has leveled off in the 8th spot now, working on a top 10, something he hasn't done since Martinsville back in July. Said the car was loose on exit, but his biggest issue a little earlier was it was just too snug, wouldn't cut the way he needed it to, Dave.
Hey, Matt, Casey Mears cannot go 75 laps on fuel, though crew chief Brad Parrott wishes he could. They were going to try to make it and save fuel and do all that. They think they're about 10 to 12 laps short, so you'll see him on pit road again, but a very fast race car. Alan?
And rounding out the top 10 is Tony Stewart driving the Dale Earnhardt Incorporated 8 here in Charlotte tonight. Still got a little bit of smoke coming off the right side of that car when he goes down into the corner right there. You see it? Trying to keep an eye on that. He had that right front fender rubbing on the tire earlier. They're watching it carefully down here.
Thank you, gentlemen. That's a top 10 through the field. There are 18 cars scored on the lead lap. Ducking a break here, get back for pit stops. Carl Edwards leads Kenseth, Busch, Menard, and McMurray with 44 to go. 162 laps are complete, 38 to go. Carl Edwards continues to lead Matt Kenseth by about a second. Kyle Busch is more than 5 seconds behind the race leader. And we are rapidly approaching pit stops. Kevin Harvick, who runs in the 20th position, the 3rd car 1 lap down, put it on lap 124, so he's going to have a small cushion there, where he'll put himself in a fairly decent position, maybe to catch a break.
Yeah, he's got, what, 15 or 20 laps, and he can stay out longer than everybody else, which will put him on the lead lap, which, if a caution then comes out, he's back in business.
Harvick.
But it's not a whole lot of time left in the race, but...
And plus, he has to finish 32 points ahead of Carl Edwards, who just happens to be the race leader. Harvick trying to clinch the championship tonight. There's Edwards in the 60. He's the race leader.
And now he's putting guys down. I mean, that's Stacy Compton in 16th. He's putting a lap down. There's Michael Waltrip. Going to be putting a lap down.
Kenny Wallace in that 22 car is already 2 laps down. So Edwards working his way through traffic. We were able to hear from him during the red flag. He just has one of those cars, Kyle, that drivers dream about.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he said. He said there's just, where I'm running, there's just plenty of grip. There's been something there, and he's just not really changed anything. And he didn't want to say flat out, no, we're not going to change anything else. We're just going to put tires on it. But basically, that's what he was implying.
Now the question is, will somebody not even bother to put tires on?
You know, it depends on what the tire wear was. You know, obviously some places we run, you can do that. This has not been a place historically in the past that you want to be out there with more than that to refuel with a set of tires with a full run on them. But man, as good as the 17 car did early in the day, it could be a possibility.
Kyle Busch on pit road. Matt
making his way down to his team. He said it sort of rolls over on the front and just sort of bogs down. He says the car is tight all the way through the center of the corner. They were talking about making a wedge adjustment as well as trying to fix this race car with a significant air pressure change. We're about another 4 to 5 laps away from the 17 of Matt Kenseth making his final stop as well. Waiting on the 5. Finally, he is away.
Well, that won't help him.
That was a long pit stop.
Over 17 seconds for Kyle.
You know, I'm going to say something, Bill. You said you're talking about just gassing and going.
Yes.
You know, if it gets down to 15, 20 laps to go, 25 laps to go, you got to take into account what the 17 car did earlier on 35 lap tires. And that's a distinct possibility that somebody like that, somebody will try it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? There should be somebody that would try it.
Dave?
Jason Leffler happy to get 4 fresh tires and a wedge and track bar adjustment. That car had tightened up badly on him. It's going to be a little slow on the right side there. Long time on pit road now for Leffler. But he's been running good all night, guys.
Yeah, this is where you can really run into trouble. You're coming in for that last pit stop, and everything has to be perfect. You have to get down pit road without speeding. Everybody's got to do their job, make a good stop. And then, like Kyle said, somebody's going to come in and just take gas or make a short pit stop. And if it works out, smoke all these guys.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to look like heroes when the day's over with.
Just 30 to go. Boy. Carl Edwards working his way to pit road. There he is. So he gives up the lead. 29 to go when he hits his stall.
All the way down.
Matt Kenseth also on pit road. He's coming for you, Matt.
And he is going to hit his pit stall before his teammate in the 60. Now Matt Kenseth slides to a stop. Says the car was significantly tighter on this past run. Car stalled, refired, air pressure change this time. AB.
Carl Edwards reminded about 4 times not to speed coming down pit road and throw the race away there. Good smooth stop so far. Little trouble on the left rear. And he's away. Marty.
Alan, both Paul Menard and Clint Boyer will come to pit road this time. Menard running in the 3rd position when he came to pit road to the car. Just a little bit too snug for him. Late in the run, wondered where they were on fuel. Now, a lot of the guys who have already pitted are only taking on 2 tires. Menard will take on 4 tires, however. Clint Boyer further down pit road, he'll take on just 2 tires. The car for Boyer a little bit too tight. They go up a half round on the track bar, just a little bit to help him late in the run, and the 2-tire stop will get him off pit road a little quicker. Alan?
Denny Hamlin on pit road, pitting from 8th position. Going to get, was going to be a 4-tire stop. Now it's going to be a 2-tire stop on the 20 for Denny Hamlin. Allen. Jamie McMurray will come down pit road as there is a tire that's gotten away from one team and is sitting out on the grass. He passes that safely. McMurray's going to come in. They have made the call for 4 tires on the 64 car. Tony Stewart will be in the 8 car this lap.
And that tire in the grass is from the 11 team of Paul Menard.
That's a pass-through penalty. And he is coming down pit lane as we speak. And we just talked about it. All you got to do is make one mistake, and that's it.
A 200-lap race and one mistake on pit road takes you completely out of the race.
So Kyle
Menard
Busch
had a great race.
Yep, Kyle Busch had a good race going, had a 17+ second pit stop. Now Menard has to go make the pass-through penalty for the loose tire. Allen?
Well, so far, Tony Stewart is close to accomplishing one main goal he wanted to tonight, which was to get to the finish of this thing in one piece. Remember, he had that awful crash back in the race here in May. 4 tire change and a chassis adjustment for Tony Stewart on the 8 car for the DEI team tonight. $17 and change for Tony.
Right now, that car is our leader. Casey Mears in the 42 car. Johnny Sauter is second.
A lot of guys holding their breath right now. I think Casey Mears won a fuel mileage.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, he's got a 20+ second lead on a lot of these guys already. So he's the guy that's got to come down and get enough fuel, Kyle, just to make it to the finish. Yeah, splash and go.
He may be the guy that's going to play the splash and go card, and he's put himself in the position. I think earlier the pit call they made kind of took him out of it. This position kind of puts him back into it.
Johnny Sauter on pit road, Matt.
And Bill, KP, and Wally were talking about some guys maybe looking at doing fuel only, and that is exactly what Johnny Sauter's team looking at. 3, 4, almost 5 seconds full of fuel. 23 laps to go. He's away.
And Johnny's one of those cars that's running good enough. He's been running up in the top 10 for most of this race. So he's fast enough that this is really going to be, I think, an advantage for him. And we'll see what these guys do here in the 42 car. But I got to expect them to do the same thing. They're not going to stop and change tires.
And that's definitely what Harvick will do.
Yeah.
Dave?
So they haven't wavered from the 10 to 12 laps short for Casey Mears. So that's probably about 10 laps from now that he'll be in. And, Casey responding back and didn't sound like in code. They were asking him to save fuel early in this run, but then Todd radioed that they would be short. So we expect him to be on pit road, probably 2 right side tires. But again, they gambled in May. They almost made it. Not quite.
Dave, what gear are they running right now?
Long gears, Wally, long gears.
Yeah, he's only going to need a couple of seconds of fuel.
I would think so. If they have 10 more laps, I would think 2 seconds, 3 seconds is going to be enough.
You saw the 00 take what, 4.7. We saw Kyle Busch's pit stop be 17 or 18 seconds long, and now we're looking at a pit stop time on pit road that may be 2.5, maybe 3 seconds, because they just need a splash to get going.
Remember, they have those slower fuel cans in the Busch Series, so it takes just a tick longer to get the fuel in there.
Well, maybe Sauter didn't get enough in. We'll see there too. But this is, if you're coming in just for fuel, though, you got to be careful on your pit road speed, because when you're that close, you think you've got them beat, and you're trying to win this race, and that's where you make a mistake a lot of times.
2 things: you got to be careful on the pit road speed, and you can't slide those tires and flat spot them, because there's nothing worse than having to go back out there with 4 tires that are flat spotted because you made a mistake on pit road.
That's Matt Kenseth in the 17. He's currently 8th, trying to get back on the lead lap. Mears is the race leader. So this is Kenseth trying to get back on the lead lap.
And Mears doesn't want to make it easy for Matt if he can help it. I mean, he knows that he lets the 17 car go. He's going to watch the 17 car drive off into the distance, which is going to hurt him later when he's got to pit. So he's got to run hard and not be such a nice guy and let the 17 clean, a clean pass.
Yeah, no, he needs to hold him up if he can, and he's not holding them up. Believe me, they're running hard here.
Crash. Jamie McMurray. Caution is out. Field is frozen.
Okay, everything we were talking about, just forget it.
Everything you're talking about, forget, except for this. Matt Kenseth is the lucky dog.
Right. Yeah.
So he's still in the race and still has an opportunity here.
And we'll wait for that officially, but if Kenseth is the lucky dog, he would come around and be just the 7th car on the lead lap. And Kenseth is the lucky dog.
Just got loose underneath Musgrave there in the 14 car. And too bad, because Jamie had another good run going.
The luckiest guy here tonight is Ted Musgrave.
Yeah. I mean, there's only going to be 7 cars on the lead lap, and a couple of those guys, Michael Waltrip, Danny O'Quinn, Stacy Compton. I mean,
but they haven't pitted. They've got to pit, which moves Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth back to the 1 and 2 position again. So it's the same race it was 50 laps ago.
Unless this caution is long enough that Mears stays out.
I don't think they have.
I don't think there's a gear long enough or a caution long enough. That answers that question.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave.
Bet he's taking tires now, Dave.
He is, but the question is 2 or 4. If they take 2, they can do it very quickly on the fuel because they don't need much. He's going to get a wedge adjustment just a tick tight on the car. How about no tires? And the 32 car as well, Dave Blaney, they are going to change right side tires for him. So Mears choosing none. The 32 of Dave Blaney, they're going to take 4 actually now and fill, make it to the end of the race.
I think the 42 kind of surprises me that he didn't take tires.
Surprised me.
But at the same time, we saw he was running right in between the 60 and the 17 and really holding the 17 up possibly a little bit, but it puts him on the 17's bumper now. So maybe he thinks he's in a position that he can get around, or puts him in a position to be behind the 90 in that crowd.
Matt Kenseth, the lucky dog. Look out for that debris back there, Matt. Well, 16 to go. We'll sort out the running order when we come back to Charlotte. Still under caution here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. The action here in Charlotte continues tomorrow night over on NBC, the Bank of America 500. 5th race in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Our coverage kicks off at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 7:20 green flag tomorrow night. So be with us at 7 o'clock tomorrow night over on NBC. Field's gotten the 1 to go. An update from Dave.
And you might have wondered why he took no tires on that last stop. They talked about it, crew chief Brad Parrott and Casey Mears. They reasoned and they agreed together that hot tires that are not cooled and put on the race car without any laps on them, and a almost empty fuel tank, just a few seconds of gas there, are the way to go here. That's the fast race car. That's why they did that. What do you think, Kyle?
I'm not sure about that. But he knows his car. Okay, we're not going to sit up here and second guess these guys. They know their car. Obviously, he had a fast car. He was running in between the 60 and the 17, and I have to correct myself on this. I said the 60 and the 17 would be up front. The 17 was the lucky dog. He's supposed to go the tail end of the longest line.
But regardless, you're in the middle of this mess right here. Whether you're on cold tires, hot tires, whatever, it's going to be tough.
There you see Mears, the 42. He is the race leader, but not at the front of that line. Alan.
Well, here's what Carl Edwards can't understand from the cockpit of his race car and what his crew chief Pierre Cattell is trying to get explained to him from down here. If Carl stayed on the racetrack and Casey Mears came down pit road, Casey would have had to have stopped at the end of pit road until the cars on the racetrack filed past him and then joined into the tail of the line. So they want to know how come Casey stopped and was able to get in front of them on the racetrack for this restart.
Do you have the answer to that, Alan?
No, I'd like somebody to call that one. I mean, that Kyle and Wally, that is how it works. When you come down pit road, you're supposed to fall in at the end of the line of the cars that are on the racetrack, right?
That's right, under yellow, yeah.
Right, so that's what they can't understand down here, is how a guy that pitted gets to line up in front of them when they were on the lead lap when the yellow came out. Yeah, they were a mile and a half behind, but they were on the lead lap, and the pace car did pick up Casey Mears as the leader, so they're trying to figure out how he was able to get past that stoplight at the end of pit road and get in front of them on the racetrack.
Is it a stoplight, Alan, or is there a guy down there with a paddle?
They had the big red and green light down here, yeah.
Okay.
So here's Mears. Coming down pit road.
And we're looking for that light, and there's that light. See that red light there blinking?
That's red.
That's red.
And they've turned the lights back on. Yeah, NASCAR's looking at it.
Yeah, they're trying to sort this out. That's why they haven't gone back to green.
Okay, well, we'll work on this. Check with Marty.
Yeah, while we let NASCAR sort that out, we'll talk to Jamie McMurray. And oddly enough, you and I were talking today about how you've been great for the 3/4 of a race, and the last quarter just never seemed to go your way. What happened?
Just one of the lap cars pointed me to the inside, and you know, he gave me enough room. I just didn't have a lot, and when I went underneath him, I just got really loose. I ran out of talent apparently as he got on my outside quarter. I just couldn't hang on to it. We'd been tight pretty much all night. I kept freeing the car up, and the very last run we got it to where I was kind of on the edge, and then when you add a car on your outside, I just couldn't hang on.
Glad to see you're okay.
Thank you.
Bill?
Thanks, Marty. It's been a tough year for Jamie McMurray. Okay, there's McMurray again, or Mears leaving pit road, and there it's green.
Yeah, that's not enough.
Yeah,
that's not enough distance to make any difference.
No, and I don't know how he ends up in front of him. You got me on that one, because technically, just like they say, if he comes down pit road, he should be back behind him. If we looked at the scoring monitor, he should be, the 60 car should be leading the race. Everybody else should be behind him. Because the 60 car was the last car, was the car that was the tail end of the lead lap right in front of him on the racetrack when the caution come out.
But knowing that, knowing that, shouldn't you, if you knew that was going to happen, then you should have stopped to put tires on.
Unless, the only unless comes is if Carl just loafed around the racetrack. Once the caution come out, if he just kind of took his time to get around the racetrack, then they had time to come in and out maybe. I don't know.
They're coming to get the green, we think, Dave.
Okay, Bill, we're going to let Brad Parrott look real quick. What do you think, Brad? Did you guys make it or not?
Well, you know, we made the pit stop, and the light was maybe green, maybe red. NASCAR, you know, it's showing red there, but then they turn the light on green right after us. So I don't understand how they can turn it on right after we pass the line. They messed up. They're paying for it. We'll see. We're the leader right now. We're going to win this race.
So in your opinion, Brad, it looks like they intended to turn it on for you, but just did it a little late?
Well, without a doubt. I mean, you know, it's their call. You know, they call these races more than I call these races, and whatever they decide is what we'll stick with, and we'll go from there. But the Texaco Howland Dodge has done great tonight. This whole crew has done great, and this is Casey's last race with us, so we're real proud of the job he's done. We messed up on the first pit stop and didn't get it full, and we paid the price, but it's Friday the 13th, isn't it?
Yes, it still is. And it gave us a little clue there, guys. Early on, they didn't get the car full of fuel, and that was one of the reasons why their strategy changed. And we'll see if their strategy works out now. Actually, you guys got pretty lucky with that being out in the lead, and then the caution came out.
Well, you know, that was the strategy we played, and, you know, you win these races on strategies. And Dan Weldon, I know you're watching. I wish you were in this car, too, one day.
It's a nice little promo right there for a future driver, perhaps.
All right, now wait a minute. Are we okay? Now we're coming to 10 to go.
Right.
Which means we're going to go single file.
But if you go back and show the car leaving pit road. Right. Okay. And you see the light. The light's red, green, light, red, green. You see the light on the left flicking. Okay. The light on the left. The light on the left. If we look at this, if you see the light, it's red, green, green, red, green, red. See the one on the left? That means there's cars passing a certain point on the racetrack, which tells them when to turn the light back to green. Okay. So there were still cars pretty close wherever that cutoff point is. There were still cars pretty close, which was making that light flick red, green, the one on the left. You're not supposed to leave pit road until the one on the right goes green. Yes. I don't care if it's a little green or a little red. It's either red or green, and that's the way the inspection station is. That's the way they send the cars to inspection. Is green means go, red means stop. He was supposed to stop.
So they're going to stop. They should stop the race and get this figured out, which is what they're doing.
Yep. And we're told they will stop the field here. Pit road is closed. I just don't see how Mears can be in front
of the 60. Yeah. You can't be. You can't be. I don't understand it either. Ten
10 laps to go as of right now. We're trying to sort out a scoring situation involving the 42 car.
It almost appears that the 60 car or the 42 car pitted, came off of pit road, and the pace car picked him up, and the 60 car hadn't made the full lap back around the racetrack because he was at the tail end of the lead lap to be picked up by the pace car. It's like the pace car picked up the wrong car.
Yeah, because they were only in the pits for, you know, what,
2.7 seconds.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, hardly
so if
anything.
they're maintaining the speed, that may have been it.
It's almost like the pace car picked up the 42 when he left the end of pit road down here, and the other cars were still passing that point, so they just picked up the wrong person. So everybody lined up accordingly.
Okay, we'll wait for some information and check with Matt.
Well, we'll catch up with Jimmy Finning, the crew chief for Matt Kenseth. So what is going on, Jim?
I don't think anybody's got a clue, to tell you the truth. Yeah, they don't know what's going on because the 60 didn't pit, the 42 did pit. So, like I'd say, you know, they ain't got a clue.
And there you have it, Bill.
Jimmy's not happy. He knows his guy got the lucky dog. Matt Kenseth currently 7th in the scoring that we're looking at.
It should be easy to go back, especially with electronic scoring, to see time spent on pit road, time, total elapsed time from, even if you take lap 188, 187, or 188, 189, and 190, and do the total time for 3 laps and compare them to each other, there's got to be a path somewhere.
Work on that, would you?
I will work on it, man.
Alan?
We were going to do the equal time thing here, Bill. We heard from Brad Parrott earlier. Okay, Pierre Cattell, what's your stance here, and what's your argument with the officials over the way the cars are lined up on the track now?
Well, I'm just waiting for NASCAR to make the right decision here. I mean, it's hard to come down pit road and pit and go back out in front of in front of the leader. That doesn't make any sense. And plus the blend line wasn't observed, and you didn't fall on the longest, the continuous of the longest line when you come back on the track. So it's not really a big decision here. They're just going to sort it all out now that it's 10 to go, line everybody up, because it needs to be a single file restart. So we'll see how it goes from here.
I heard both you and your driver commend NASCAR for stopping the race, though.
Yeah, they're reviewing it all, and we're going to see what NASCAR's got to say about it, but we'll be all right.
All right, thanks, PK. They both were very happy that NASCAR stopped the race and stopped running laps out on both them trying to race for the win in case this decision somehow doesn't go their way, and also the fans watching this thing who paid their money to see a finish and not one behind the pace car.
Right.
Was the 42 car the only car that came down pit road?
We're checking on that now. Todd Cleaver did some work on his car. Daniel Quinn came down pit road. Blaney.
Deals like this, I am glad though they went to the 10-lap deal, because this is you always set yourself up for a wreck when you restart with 11 laps to go or 12 laps to go in a deal like this.
Yeah, no, they made a good call by letting it get to the 10 laps. Now we're back into the single file with the lead lap cars here, and everybody's in the right position.
Okay, there's the 42.
The 60 is the last car in this line on the track. So you can see the red light flashing on the right side. There's Mears leaving pit road.
Well, it went green, and it went green.
But he still has to fall in behind.
Show that. Can you replay that one more time? If you can replay that one thing one more time, you'll see the light on the corner like I was talking about. See, as the cars pass the start-finish line, the light's flicking red, green, red, green. And you see the light. It's red. You see the light to the left. You see the light to the left. I can't work the telestrator. You see the light to the left right there. It's red. It's green. It's red. It's green. These cars are passing the cutoff point right here. There's a line in the racetrack that's a cutoff point that transfers to that. It's what the old paddle guy used to look at.
Right.
You had to beat a guy to a certain point. When the last car passed that went green. He was past that line. But no matter what, he should have blended to the longest line.
Okay, they've said the 60 is the race leader. And obviously, Brad's not happy.
But he's got no argument.
Right.
He's
Because you have to fall in at the end of that
You have to
line.
fall in. If you come down, you have to fall in at the tail end of the longest line. In the old days when we had a paddle guy, it makes no difference. It makes no difference. The lights mean what they do. Red means stop, green means go. He passed. Not only did he run past the red light when you really look at it, he was past the point of no return. He blended in the middle of the pack. So those are two things that should be wrong.
So Carl Edwards will be the race leader. Mears will be second. That's car owner Jack Roush. Owns the cars of Edwards and Kenseth and others. Alan.
Let's get a reaction here from Jack, who's been watching all this unfold. Feel better now?
Well, I feel better, but, you know, I didn't come down here because the thing that happened was obvious. You know, there was a continuous line of cars. The cars came down pit road to come out behind. I couldn't have imagined it would take 10 laps to get that straightened out, but I guess I just didn't understand how complicated it was.
He's so subtle.
Yeah. Well, we saw Brad Parrott react there, and did they make the right call here?
Oh, no, Jack must have put his hat on backwards or something. I don't know. But, you know, he's got a way of words with NASCAR sometimes, but NASCAR makes all the calls. You know, we believe in their call, and we'll go with what we got to go with.
Our continuing question would be, though, if y'all came down pit road and Carl Edwards did not, how could you come out ahead of him?
Friday the 13th, luck of the draw, I guess. You know,
you're working it here.
Hey, I'm here to win races, okay? That's why Chip hired myself and the rest of these guys here, and we're having fun with this Texaco Havoline Dodge, and 10 laps to go, and remember Carl was behind me in May, so he better hope his bumper is hard enough. This is Casey's last Busch race with the Texaco Havoline Dodge, so I don't know what's going to happen.
And that car's fast.
Real fast.
We'll see what happens. Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Dave. You know who this really hurt? It's Harvick. Because if they go to a single file restart, he's not going to have a chance to race his way back onto the lead lap.
No, but I think he'd be pretty happy, really, with the 12th place finish, what's gone on tonight.
When he came out of the pits, remember, he was 35th.
Yeah.
And by some miracle of God here, he's worked his way back to 12th, believe me.
I think it's the miracle of the guys that build that car.
That's it. He's worked his way back to 12th, which is a phenomenal effort for them.
It is going to be Edwards, Mears, Danny O'Quinn, Dave Blaney, Stacy Compton, Michael Waltrip, and Matt Kenseth.
But I'm still going to say I'm not sure that Kenseth should be in that position because he got the lucky dog. He just received the lucky dog.
Right.
So he should be the last car on the lead lap.
He should be the last car on the lead lap. Matt should be the last car on,
and that's what Jimmy Fennick is trying to figure out where his guy's supposed to be.
Even though they've got him positioned as 7th, and maybe it works different than the last 10 laps, and I don't understand that. But technically, the way they tell us in the driver's meeting and the way they tell us and everything, once you get the lucky dog, it's the tail end of the longest line. Now, this is the lucky dog before the last 10 laps, and we're inside the last 10 laps.
Yeah, because there is no lucky dog inside of 10 to go.
Exactly. So I don't know exactly how those rules work or where his position should be.
Well, some of these cars that are right now, there are 11 cars scored on the lead lap. Some of them will be at the tail end. Well, no, maybe not. Maybe not. Now they won't be. Because that's the running order that we've been told from NASCAR. Edwards, Mears, O'Quinn, Blaney in the 32, Compton, then Michael Waltrip. Kyle Busch is scored on the lead lap. Johnny Sauter on the lead lap. Clint Boyer on the lead lap. And Denny Hamlin on the lead lap. So the 17 should be behind. There's only going to be one line.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He should be the last car on the lead lap.
If that's the way the lucky dog works under this circumstances. I'm not sure I've ever seen us get down to a point where you get a lucky dog with 10 or 15 laps.
But even if he went to the tail end of the longest line,
it should be,
and the yellow came out, and it was 10 to go, he would move up. I would think.
I would think he would move up too.
know.
That's what I'm saying. So I would think he should be behind Hamlin, the last car.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Yeah, and that should be the way it is. Now on most restarts, it's the tail end of the longest line, but now we have one continuous line, so it throws everything into disarray.
So he's the tail end of all the cars on the lead lap. Well, we'll see how We'll see where he is.
I don't see him.
He might have left. He needs a good night's sleep. He's got a 500-mile race tomorrow.
He's way back there.
Yeah.
He's about 4 or 5 cars from the end there.
Okay.
And I'm going to say this. I'm not sure that's a proper call in this situation. Okay. I would have to question that a little bit because they had a scoring snafu that let him ride down to 10 laps. So now, any other time, he would be the tail end of the longest line on a double file restart.
Right.
So he wouldn't be 50 cars back.
Right.
He would only be 15 cars back at the most.
Yeah.
So he would have an opportunity.
So he's really being penalized now.
He's being penalized now for getting the lucky dog because now he's being sent all the way to the back.
Exactly right.
I would argue that call a little bit.
And I'm sure Jimmy was.
You know, because he's the tail end behind everybody, and I'm not sure that he should be penalized. I think under this circumstances he should be behind the last car in the lead lap.
I agree with you.
But that's just Kyle Petty's opinion, and that's why I'm in the booth with you.
No, that's the right. That's actually the right way to go. I mean, what's the use?
Well, we're going green now. Be 8 to go when they take the green flag. Single file restart. Edwards is the leader. Mears is second. You can tell it's Friday the 13th.
This is where it's going to matter right here. Casey Mears got a really good restart.
Theory holds up.
Let's see whose car's better right here. Pretty even through 3 and 4.
Hey, Casey's driving it like it's the last time he's ever going to set in a race car for his lifetime.
Got a good run there.
He's driving the wheels off of it right now.
Bobble there with the 60. That might be enough. He's going to get a little bit loose if he can get close enough to Edwards' bumper, and we got a car.
Yellow's out. Yellow is out behind you.
Leffler will do it all again. Somebody keep an eye on the pace car.
All right, now this is good for Kenseth.
This is great for Kenseth because now Kenseth does not have to be the longest car in line. He can go up to where the lead lap cars are.
Watching the 38 car here.
Goes around the high side, just gets loose.
Yeah, it was sideways on entry.
Yeah.
The bad part for Kenseth is there's only going to be 4 or 5 laps left.
Yeah, a lot of bad things came out of this.
Yeah.
But they got the right leader. So there'll be 7 cars on the lead lap. Edwards, Mears, Blaney, O'Quinn, Waltrip, Compton, Kenseth. There'll be 5 to go when they get to the line this time. Only going to be a couple left. And we might even have another caution for you. This is number 10.
If it keeps going like this, it'll be Saturday the 14th.
Kyle, tomorrow night's race will be shorter.
I don't think since they implemented some of these rules with the 10-lap rule and the lucky dog and some, that we've come down to a situation like this where somebody got the lucky dog, had to go to the end of the longest line. Right. There were a lot of things that happened here, I think, tonight for the first time from a scoring standpoint that NASCAR will probably go back and look at it and say, okay, let's tweak this a little bit. We didn't anticipate some of these things.
And you guys will bring it up tomorrow in the drivers' meeting anyway.
It'll be brought up in the drivers' meeting. You can count on that.
Okay, under caution, Dave.
How about some of these other top 5 cars up there, Bill? The 32 of Dave Blaney has had a strong run all night. The one I am most fascinated with, actually 2, are the 99 of Michael Waltrip and the 59 of Stacy Compton. Both of those guys had trouble in that big wreck that happened early on. They both stayed on the lead lap. Actually, yeah, I don't think they ever went a lap down, repaired their race cars, and have raced back up to the front. They're taking advantage of this track position with 10 to go, or under 10 to go.
I believe they went a lap down, Dave. I think these guys stayed out when that caution came out, and that's why they got back on the lead lap.
Remarkable,
is that right?
Nonetheless. Well, I don't know. I never had 99 going a lap down, but that may have happened at some point. The main thing is they came in, they fixed their stuff. They did a really good job of staying up in the hunt of this thing.
It's been a race where strategy is really going to determine the outcome.
Or lack of.
Yes. Other than the fact that Carl Edwards has had a great race car, and so has Casey Mears. But Mears even had to work through a bizarre pit sequence where they didn't get enough fuel in the car. Pace car to pit road. Be 4 to go when the green comes out. Matt Kenseth picked up about half a mile.
At least.
Because of that caution. Mears looking for the lead.
It looks like that 60 car is a little bit loose down there in 3 and 4. I think if the 42 gets up close enough on that bumper, he can make life difficult for Carl.
3 to go.
Casey's car is really strong from the center off. You saw him lag in the corner on that restart behind Carl and really get a tremendous run up off 2 and down the backstretch, and Carl had to block him. Casey,
boy, he may have it up there. He may have enough. Oh, there.
Mears and Edwards around. Caution is out. Daniel Quinn has gone around. Matt Kenseth sneaks through.
Dave Blaney's going to win the race.
Yep.
And Kevin Harvick may end up clinching the championship. Depending on the damage to the 60 car and where he finishes.
He just got up on the outside of the 60. They were coming off a 4. The 60's got a little bit loose. Well, 42 got real loose and got in the wall and took the 60 out. But
yeah, 42. But the 60 car, that's where Wally, like you had said, the 60 car looks loose, right in that place, right there. And you see the 60, he gives him room. He gives him room. The 42 just gets up in the outside wall, bounces off, and gets into Carl.
just hooked him in the right. I mean, and you're right. Carl gave the 42 plenty of room, but it wasn't enough.
The crew of Carl Edwards.
Boy, the last couple of weeks, last lap's been pretty, or last few laps have been tough. You don't want to be leading.
There's Carl.
Tell you what, he drove a great race tonight.
He did.
He didn't get the win, but
talking to the fans.
There have been numerous guys out here tonight that have driven some great races that aren't going to get credit for anything.
Yeah.
You know, seeing that paint scheme, there's Casey Mears. He's upset about something or with someone. Marty's there with him.
Yeah, Casey, first of all, let's talk about the wreck. You certainly were going for the win. You took the outside lane.
Yeah, no, it's not the way I wanted it to happen, obviously. Brad Perry did a great job. We had a better car there at the end. And, you know, Carl was doing all he could to keep it on the bottom and not give me that lane. I got the outside lane. And when I got the outside lane, he started running up the track, and I got my right sides and the stuff, and it took off. But
there's a replay.
Yeah, I just got loose off. I just got loose off and took him out. You know, I feel bad for him, but we're going for the win. You know, I mean, this is not the way we wanted to go out with the 42 car, but at least we're strong running up front. And one of Carl's guys had words for me, but then he kept walking off, so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, who was that? I mean, what was that about?
I don't know who it was, man. He said anyway, it wasn't good. He gets upset. I like that replay. I was going to go get him anyway. Guy was talking and walking off. Anyway, it was a good day for us. I mean, I hate the way it ended. I hate it for Carl. Carl's a really good friend of mine. Last thing I want to do is take him out. But we'll figure it out. It's racing.
You'll go find him in a bit?
We got tomorrow. I'll talk to Carl. Yeah. I mean, I ain't worried about that at all.
All right, Casey, glad to see you're okay. And obviously, interesting things happening here in the final few laps, guys.
Well, you know, this is... You got to give Guy credit for going for the win and not settling for second. No. I hate it for Carl Edwards because Carl ran a great race tonight, and he deserved to win the race. You know, one of these two guys deserved to win the race. But, you know, that's what the fans come here to see. They want to see racing, and Casey Mears was going for it.
Yeah, he was going for it. And the other thing is this. You hate it for Carl. You hate it for Casey. You know what I mean? No matter what you say, you hate it for the people that work on those cars and all that stuff. But I'm going to have to give Casey Mears a tip of the hat right there. It took a lot of class to just say, hey, I got it. I tried. I did everything I could. I got up in the loose stuff. Yeah. Maybe I was forced up there a little bit. You know, the door shut a little bit. I just took him out. And that's what he said. In his words, I just took him out. I hate it for Carl. I hate it for everybody. But I'm going to tell you what, it takes a big man to stand up and say that a lot of times, because he could just as easily have jumped out of that car and said, you know, he forced me to the high side. He ran me out of room. I got no place to go. What's this all about? But, I mean, it shows that he comes from a good group, a good family. He's got a good family.
And I think you'll see the same amount of class when they interview Carl. Yeah, I mean, Carl's a good race car driver. He has fun doing it, and he understands it's a racing deal. So,
and Carl's been through this situation before this year, the Busch race at Michigan.
Yeah, he was exactly the
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Another one he should have won. And then it got ugly, but
yeah, he wasn't quite as patient then. And Junior went to victory lane, and then Carl went to victory lane to talk to Junior. Had a long discussion. Now, Carl won 4 races last year in the Nextel Cup Series, has not been back to victory lane this year. So sometimes that frustration can come out. We're under the red flag, obviously. Cars stopped along pit road.
But he's like you said, he won 4 races last year. He's not been the victory lane this year.
Didn't make
Let me tell you something. It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
He's a great race car driver.
Yeah.
And he should have already won 2 or 3 Busch races, probably a couple of Cup races this year. It's not been Carl's year. It's just like we talk about Kevin Harvick. When it's your time, it's your time. When things go good for you, they go good for you. When things go bad for you, they just go bad for you.
Okay, let's get the story from Dave Burns.
And we'll start by letting Carl see the replay, guys. If you wouldn't mind rolling it. Carl, look over here, and I know you know what happened. First of all, you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I think what happened, I haven't seen the replay, but I think Casey...
Guys, can you roll it? Here it goes.
He had a good run there. Oh, man. He just... That's what happens sometimes. You get on the outside of a guy, and it sucks the nose around. I made a... If that had been the last lap, it would have been the coolest finish ever. Our Henkel crew did a great job. Hopefully that Ameriquest Fusion wins it, Matt Kenseth. And I saw him playing the tape of Junior and I at Michigan.
Yeah, you get wrecked leading a lot, don't you?
I was doing everything I could to keep Casey behind me. He's a great guy, a great friend of mine. I made the mistake of getting all bent out of shape and getting upset at Dale Jr. He's a heck of a guy, and I'm not going to make that mistake again. Casey's just racing as hard as he can. And I just wish it would have been the last lap. There's nothing he can do about that. We're just racing.
And he talked about you guys being very good friends, and that obviously this is not the way he wanted it to happen either.
No, Casey's a great guy, and if there's anything I've learned this year, I mean, we had a great season last season. Everything went well. About middle of the way through the season, I started getting down a little bit. Things aren't going the way I wanted them to go, but I got great sponsors, got a great team, great family. I'm just kind of turning over a new leaf, trying to have a little more fun like I used to have, and we'll start here tonight.
Hey, I guess there was an old Carl Edwards, and he's back, guys.
Just like I said.
Yeah, that was good. That was perfect.
I mean, you know, that's the way
you were right. You were right.
You know, it took you all night to say that, and I've been right quite a bit tonight.
Yeah, actually, I hate to admit that. TNT Sports at the Lowe's Motor Speedway for the 24 Hours of Charlotte, NASCAR Busch Series Racing. Got a handful of laps to go here. Going to go green, white, checkered. When we go back to green here. And the field's going to roll off a pit road. Here's the crash. This is going for the lead. Casey Mears in the 42, Carl Edwards in the 60.
And there was plenty of racetrack up there. I mean, you know, we're looking at it from here, but from that windshield, that's a football field wide for a race car driver as far as the hole goes.
Plenty of racetrack there, but just like Casey said, he started up there. Carl made an adjustment. He went a little bit higher, and if you look at him, his right rear, the racetrack's a little bit lighter gray up here where he's at right now. And when you're up there, you're in the marbles almost, and he just runs out of room.
We've completed 199 laps.
So now we have Dave Blaney in the lead. Matt Kenseth is second. Waltrip, O'Quinn, and Compton.
And O'Quinn was in that, somewhat involved in it. I don't know if if they stopped the race so quick that he wasn't able to come down pit road and change tires, but he's going to need 4 tires, or either he's going to ride around and just finish 5th. Which would be nice, just to ride around and just finish 5th on a green, white checker.
Yeah. I mean, if he's got any tires left, but I mean, you come in and get tires anyway, you're not going to lose any positions, really.
Yeah, right. He's got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose.
This will be the 9th green, white checkers for the Busch Series in 2006. If the race reaches its scheduled conclusion, under the caution, NASCAR will make 1 attempt at a green, white checkered finish. If the caution comes out at any time during that, the race is over, and NASCAR will use the 14 scoring loops and videotape to determine the finishing order, which is what happened last Sunday at Talladega. And as you might expect, that takes a little while to make sure you get everything right. Kevin Harvick has scored 12th. And the scoring loop will update when they go across start-finish this time. Harvick needs to finish 32 points ahead of Carl Edwards. Edwards obviously is out of the race after that crash. Is that O'Quinn coming down pit road?
Yep. Getting those 4 tires Kyle suggested might be a good idea.
Lights are out on the pace vehicle, so we will go back to green next time. Dave Blaney has never won a NASCAR Busch Series race in 92 starts. His best, 2nd, twice. Darlington and Atlanta. This is his 12th Busch Series race at Charlotte.
I have his hands full. He's got a good car behind him.
Yeah, he's got a good car behind him that can run anywhere on the racetrack. We talked about it earlier, how Matt had moved around looking for a place to get around the 60. So you know Matt knows what he can do in the middle of the racetrack. He knows what he can do on the bottom, and he knows what he can do high.
Blaney's got to just really get a great restart. And you know, put a couple car lengths between him and the 17, and hopefully that's going to be enough to pull it off.
This is just the kind of wacky race that Michael Waltrip would win.
Yeah.
You know?
He's done that before.
Yes, he has.
Michael in the 99.
So now the scoring has updated. Harvick only a couple of positions ahead of Edwards, but Harvick trying to clinch the championship tonight. We'll see how it all comes down when the scoring's finally done and we see the checkered flag, but he could clinch the Busch Series championship tonight. Looking for a race winner and maybe another champion.
It should be interesting to see what that 50 put on for tires. Yeah. That could be a very fast car, depending on what they put on there.
Yeah. He does have a little damage to the right front there.
Yeah, he does.
17 car in second has led 51 laps tonight. Dave Blaney looking for his first win in the Busch Series.
See, Kenseth was laying back there a little bit. He's got a pretty good run. Whoa, a little loose there.
are smoking on the backstretch.
Okay, so Blaney drives in. Oh, he drives in hard. Oh, maybe too hard. He's going to open the door for the 17.
Side, keep digging, buddy. White flag right here. Keep digging.
Side by side, 1 to go.
I think Blaney drove that thing in just a little bit too deep, Kyle. Hanging with them, though.
He is giving it all he has right now. This is great racing right here, man.
Right there. Now he's see if he can hold that line through 3 and 4.
What a great run by Blaney, man.
Has never won in the Busch Series.
It's going to lose a little bit here, but
oh, he's got it. He's got it. Kenseth's getting loose.
Around. Blaney.
Oh.
Back it down, baby. You're the best.
Dave Blaney wins a wacky race at Charlotte. Denny Hamlin has gone around. Kyle Busch is on pit road.
He's hit something.
Imagine that.
A lot of damage on the left front there, but man, that's a great finish.
That was a great finish. To stay here all night long, it was worth the finish. But Kenseth was driving the wheels off of it.
He's giving everything he had.
Everything he had, man. But Blaney opened it up and gave him the low line where he had been. But that's the way it was.
Dave Blaney gets his first Busch Series win. Dave, take it away.
And I want to know if crew chief Trent Owens knows how to answer the last question that Dave said over the radio. Where do we go now? Trent, you know where Victory Lane is.
It's somewhere in the middle. I've been here for years, so I think we can find it.
How in the world did you guys do that?
I don't know, man. We had a flat tire, went to the back, we run in the middle of the pack. Next thing you know, we're 4 cars on the lead lap, and come in, got 4 tires, and it just all worked out. I mean, sometimes you have them nights where you can't do anything right, and then sometimes you have them nights where everything falls in place. And this evening, everything fell in place. That's one thing. Great clips. Braun Racing. It's a huge win for Braun Racing. I want to thank Todd Losey, Todd Braun for giving me this opportunity to crew chief. But man, I'm just so excited. I don't know what to do.
Great win and a great drive and a great crew chiefing job as well, Bill.
And a great job by you too, Dave.
Good to see Dave win.
It's great to see.
He's very underrated driver in this series.
Yeah, and he has places like Atlanta and places like that he runs, and Dave can drive the high line, man. And he'd run it up there on the outside of Kenseth. Kenseth gets a little bit loose. He corrects. I thought he was going to get it back, man, but it's just...
These races are worth staying around for the finish.
Yes, they are.
There's Kevin Harvick. He is the 2006 NASCAR Busch Series champion. He has mathematically clinched the title with 4 races still remaining. 7 wins. He is unofficially 775 points ahead of second place Carl Edwards.
And I think his night explains how goofy this race was. For him to have the trouble he had, to be 35th, to work himself back, to be 9th, to have another top 10 finish.
Yeah.
It's Kevin Harvick's year.
Yeah, exactly. You can do no wrong sometimes. When it's your year, it's your year.
Kevin Harvick, his second Busch Series championship. And then he's going to have a lot of guys to celebrate with too. Alan?
Well, Kevin right now was just getting the official word here a minute ago. He was coasting around after the race ended. He asked his crew, did we win it? And they said, well, they haven't really told us anything yet, but they want you to stop on pit road, so I guess so. Kevin getting unbuckled now and getting ready to climb out. And as we discussed, not necessarily the way he wanted the championship celebration to begin, but here he is, the 2006 NASCAR Busch Series champion. And that look says it all, right? I know the night didn't go the way you wanted it to, but congratulations, championship number 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is really awesome. I was a little bit disappointed. Obviously, you can't control the flat tires, but I like to control the things that we can control on pit road, and we had we weren't very good in the pits tonight, but they did a great job preparing this thing. This thing was fast, able to get one of our laps back, and we made adjustments on it all night to make it better. And what a year it's been. I mean, you know, U.S. Coast Guard and RCR, all those guys have done a great job for me, and Shane Wilson, Todd Barrier, Richard Childress. I mean, this was just kind of a 5-minute conversation that Richard and I had, and we said, what the heck, we'll make a run for the championship and see what happens when we get to the first Charlotte and go from there. So just proud of everybody. It's been quite the year in the Busch car, and everything that happened tonight, we still finished in the top 10. So it's just been an incredible year.
Pat Burns from Anheuser-Busch is here and has something he wants to show you.
Congratulations with this. What a great ride. Thank you very much. What a crazy ride tonight.
Woo! That's finally over with.
Won the 2001 Busch Series championship, was also Rookie of the Year in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series that year. The 2002 IROC champion, 1998 NASCAR West Series champion. Kevin Harvick, the 2006 Busch Series champion. He celebrates that. We go to Victory Lane.
And Dave Blaney finally getting out of his car. He was sitting in it just saying over and over, I just don't believe it. They're trying to give him some beverage. Well, you were saying you don't believe it. It's taken you so long to get here. You've been close so many times, Dave. What's it mean to you now?
Oh, that was fun. That was a crazy night. We had a good car for a while, had a bad car for a while, and had a flat tire and got the lucky dog just at the right time. And I knew what I had to do to hold Matt off, but I didn't think I could do it. But yeah, we got there, so it was way cool.
And he pulled along the inside. You were hanging up on your line up on the outside there.
Yeah, that's the only way I could do is pinch him down there and try to hold him. And man, I wish my wife and kids were here. They kind of missed it tonight, but big fun.
First NASCAR Busch Series win for Dave Blaney, and a night that will be remembered for a long, long time. Unofficial results at the bottom of the screen. Here's Marty with Matt Kenseth.
Well, Matt Kenseth was a part of the crazy finish here tonight at Charlotte. And tell me about that last lap. You were trying to get around Blaney. He was giving you a hard time.
Yeah, that wasn't too coordinated by me for sure. So that was a dumb finish. But yeah, that was cool for Dave. I'm glad he won. He protected the outside, which was actually smart. You think the bottom's the way to go. And I just couldn't get him clear. I had a good run off of 2, and he drove into 3. Right at my door, and I probably drove in too hard and got the car loose. So I should have backed the corner up and tried to pass him on exit. But I just didn't think he'd hang in there like that. I thought we had a fast enough car to do that. But that was one mess of a race, that's for sure.
I told him he finished 4th backwards. He said, yay. Wasn't exactly the finish he wanted.
Dave? With Michael Waltrip just mentioning that it was Friday the 13th. What a shocker. And you've had an interesting day.
I was last in cup practice, slowest guy here. And that's a terrible feeling because I got those computers and it's like arrows are pointing at it when you're last. But then I crashed my Family Dollar car qualifying, and I got another Family Dollar car out, and then I finished second in my Family Dollar car. And the way this day has gone, Dave, wouldn't be surprised if Blaney fails post-race inspection. And I get the win like at 4 in the morning. But Armando Fitz is a great man, and I really appreciate him working with us and Family Dollar sponsoring us. I have to admit, Dave, just a little embarrassed though.
Because?
Well, I finished second. I probably shouldn't have. But I remember one day I lost a race that I should have won. So I guess it all works out. Friday the 13th. Stay tuned. You better watch for post-race inspection details. Wait, what if I fail? No, that's fine.
Then that goes back to, oh, never mind. There will be another scoring check, and NASCAR will get it right. Bill?
Thanks, Dave. And it's almost, as Wally pointed out, Saturday the 14th. So all that craziness will go away. By the way, Blaney got the lucky dog on the 8th caution on lap 124. That got him back on the lead lap and sent him on to victory lane. Kyle, thanks a lot for being up here. Good luck tomorrow night.
Thanks for having me. Hopefully tomorrow night's race will be a lot calmer, a lot more just your standard, ordinary, dull NASCAR race. How about that?
That ain't happening.
All right, man.
Tomorrow, the chase for the championship continues from Charlotte on NBC. Coverage begins at 7 o'clock Eastern Time with the Bank of America countdown to green. Don't forget, we're on the air at 7 tomorrow night. The green flag is at 7:20 Eastern Time. Coming up next on TNT, Will Smith and Kevin Kline are hired guns in the appropriately named Wild Wild West. A wild, wild night at the Lowe's Motor Speedway at Charlotte. Kevin Harvick clinches the Busch Series championship. Dave Blaney wins the race. See you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on NBC.